Chapter 1748. Because when ZJ noticed this, he was quite surprised to find that this little guy actually had a lot of skills. After looking at it day by day, he couldn't stop himself. In the end, he even wanted to help him, but now he was asking for help. This seemed to be very different from ZJ's original intention. They were two completely different things. Cure. It can be cured. Chu Yang's first sentence immediately made Duan Tsungkong overjoyed. He couldn't help but be overjoyed. Duan Tsungkong was a saint-level expert and had countless means to treat a knife wound that couldn't be cured even after 300 years. The difficulty of treating it was imaginable. Even asking for Chu Yang's help wasn't a desperate attempt. How could he not be overjoyed when he suddenly heard that it could be cured? It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was wild with joy. Then, Chu Yang changed the topic and said, "However, I'll say this first. Firstly, this treatment will take a long time. It's an old injury that can't be cured in a short period of time." Duan Tsungkong hurriedly interrupted. "It's not a problem as long as it can be cured," Chu Yang said. "Secondly, because we have to gradually dissolve that mysterious knife energy, we need some corresponding medicines. These corresponding medicines, I'll raise all the money." Duan Tsungkong interrupted Chu Yang again. Novel chapters are updated the fastest. This damn knife energy had tortured him for more than 300 years. No matter how many famous doctors in the world had inquired about it, they were all helpless. Now that he heard that it could be cured, Duan Tsungkong naturally wanted to cure it at all costs, even if he had to go bankrupt. Chu Yang pondered for a moment and said, "Also, there's a certain risk in treating it. If I want to cure it completely, I'm at most 70% sure. Moreover, even if I have all the necessary medicines, it'll take at least 3 months of treatment. It'll be even shorter. Are you afraid of such a small risk?" Duan Tsungkong said somewhat anxiously, "No, you're at least 70% sure. Even if it's only 10%, I'll still take the risk. The treatment will only take 3 months. That's really too short. I thought it'd take 3 years, or even longer. The heavens pity me." At this moment, Duan Tsungkong was so excited that he was somewhat incoherent. Chu Yang smiled gently. He very much understood Duan Tsungkong's feelings at this moment. To be honest, no matter how calm a person was, after being tortured like this for more than 300 years, when faced with a sudden opportunity to escape, how could they not be excited? Therefore, Chu Yang, who had always been narrow-minded, was very magnanimous this time. Master Duan's last sentence clearly said that he wanted to rely on Chu Yang for treatment. What did it have to do with Master Duan? If he really cares for you, why didn't you get better earlier? How much money do you need specifically? Or a heaven and earth treasure? Duan Tsungkong was obviously impatient. Duan Tsungkong did not want to hold back any longer when he thought of the infinite pleasure of being able to roam the world alone with his saber and the suffocation of hiding in this small city for more than 300 years. Ever since he was injured, he had tried to escape as far as possible. Back then, he was arrogant and frivolous, and he did not give face to anyone. The number of enemies he had made was truly a lot. If those people were to be reduced to such a state, and if they were to find out about his whereabouts, Xixia City would most likely be flattened in a single night. The required medicinal herbs need elixirs. Chu Yang calculated and said, "Elixirs." Duan Tsungkong was at a loss. Although he had been ill for a long time, he was still not a real doctor, and he was still not familiar with certain medical terms. The so-called elixirs are top-grade elixirs, including wholehearted snow lotus, 2-headed purple mist flower, 3-flavored roseroot, 4-sided drifting grass, 5 elements bitter gourd vine, horn white fleece flower, 7-colored poisonous bloodfruit, 8 3-headed flower, and resurrection grass. Chu Yang thought for a while, and then he listed them out without any reservation. "I have all the other supplementary medicinal herbs here, but the elixir that makes up the main ingredient is really precious, and I also have it here. I need this miraculous medicinal herb to synthesize the shattering medicine. Only this shattering medicine has the greatest chance of shattering the saber energy in your body, once and for all." Duan Tsungkong's expression was very interesting. In fact, as Chu Yang listed out the medicinal herbs, Duan Tsungkong's expression became more and more unsightly. These medicinal herbs were not all heavenly treasures. Even the whole-hearted snow lotus, double-headed purple mist flower, 4 directions drifting grass, and 8 three-headed flower were relatively common medicinal herbs, and could be bought in a slightly bigger medicine shop. The 3-flavored rose root and 5 elements bitter gourd vine were relatively precious, but they were not that rare. As long as one was willing to pay, one could also get them. However, the remaining horned fleece flower and 7-colored poisonous bloodfruit were genuine treasures. They were heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and very rare ones at that. If that was the case, Duan Sungkong was still confident that he could collect them all. The last resurrection grass. Even someone like Duan Sungkong, who had lived for a long time, however, he had only seen it once. At that time, it was auctioned at a sky-high price. If he really wanted to collect all the medicinal herbs, including the resurrection grass, he was afraid that all the wealth that he had accumulated over the past tens of thousands of years, as well as the worldly income of the past 300 years, would be completely wasted. He would definitely go bankrupt, and everything would have to start from scratch. Do we really need these medicinal herbs? Can't they be replaced? Duan Sungkong asked with a pale face. Returning to one, shattering the void, both are indispensable. Chu Yang's attitude was very firm, and his expression was as cold as snow. There was no room for negotiation. All right. I'll bet on this. Duan Sungkong's face turned gloomy, and he said, I'll immediately issue a task to buy them at a high price. Sigh, this time, it's really. I've worked hard for tens of thousands of years, and I've become a pauper overnight. Chu Yang kindly reminded him, as long as your injuries are healed. Do you want me to kill you? You're right, as long as your injuries are healed, I want you to kill me. Duan Sungkong was shocked, and he said, I'll immediately go and get you to kill you. Duan Sungkong immediately did as he said, and he turned around to leave. When he reached the door, the old man stopped, and turned back to confirm again, Little one, are you really 70% sure? Chu Yang didn't reply. Instead, he calculated in his heart and said, if you can find all the ingredients, I'm confident that I'll be able to succeed. Of course, the prerequisite is that those medicinal herbs must be of good quality, at least. At least 70% sure. This was basically equivalent to saying that he was 100% sure. What made Old Master Duan feel confident was that Chu Yang added another sentence, if you find out that you've been deceived. Do you think that with my current cultivation, I'll be able to escape from your pursuit? Will there be any benefits for me to deceive you? At this point, Duan Sungkong no longer hesitated, and disappeared like a whirlwind. He was like a galloping horse with its butt on fire. If he was at least 70% sure, why would he wait? What's more, what this guy said did make sense. With his strength, ZJ could crush thousands of people with a single finger. He could even blow him to pieces with a single breath. After Duan Sungkong left, Chu Yang waited silently for a while, and finally revealed a trace of a victorious smile on his lips. Then, he dipped his hand into the tea, and unconsciously drew a few pictures on the table. 5 words seemed to have dried up after a while on the table. That was the resurrection grass. Yes. It was that thing. The key to Wu Qianqian's awakening. Chu Yang had inquired many times, and many people knew that the resurrection grass was undoubtedly a top-grade heavenly treasure. With his current financial resources, he definitely couldn't afford it. Even if he was lucky enough to buy it, he wouldn't be able to keep it. As for Duan Sungkong's saber wound, it indeed needed this medicinal herb to cure it. From this point alone, Chu Yang wasn't too surprised. However, Chu Yang didn't say that the prescription was complete. It was just that the amount of medicinal herbs used was slightly off. The actual amount of medicinal herbs was as follows: 1 heart snow lotus, 1 two-headed purple mist flower, 1 3-flavored roseroot, 3 grams, 4 pieces of 4 directions drifting grass, 1 5 elements bitter gourd vine, 1 piece of white horn fleece flower, 1 7 colors poisonous bloodfruit, 1 3-headed flower, and the resurrection grass, 1. In other words, 1 stalk of resurrection grass with at least a dozen leaves was enough. In other words, 1 stalk of grass was enough to cure Duan Sungkong. However, a certain someone would never state the specific dosage of the medicine. Because the difficulty of getting 1 stalk of resurrection grass and 1 stalk of resurrection grass were about the same. The only difference was the price. There was indeed a slight difference, but it was only a difference of 3 to 7 times. Since that was the case, the more, the better. If there were too many left over, in order to avoid wastage, this divine doctor would fill his own pockets. Du and Sunkong was just about to leave when Shifu Neo came back. Seeing Du and Sunkong leaving hurriedly from afar, Shifu Neo stepped forward and looked back suspiciously at Du and Sunkong's back. He asked curiously, "Was that white-bearded old man also here to treat my illness?" "What the heck, he's already so old, but he still has that kind of problem. A young man must be very strong." Fart. Chu Yang spat out a mouthful of tea on Shifu Neo's beard and coughed repeatedly. Du and Sunkong, who was far away, staggered and almost fell to the ground. With this old master's cultivation, any movement could be hidden from his eyes and ears. But Shifu Neo believed that Shifu Neo would rather keep his eyes and ears clear. "This damn cat," the old man cursed in his heart, "when I recover, I'll pluck all the fur off this damn cat. I'll show you who's the real strong one. Let's go, Shifu Neo." Chu Yang stood up abruptly. "Let's go to the spirit beast trading market." Chapter 1749. Cat Sensei was stunned. "Brother, are you really going to do something big? Let me tell you, you can't get addicted to gambling. Once you fall in, you can go bankrupt at any time." Chu Yang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Don't worry, you won't fall in. Let's just walk around and see if there are any suitable spirit beasts. Let's each get one. Just treat it as a companion." Teacher Cat frowned. He obviously didn't believe Chu Yang's words. He said reluctantly, "You have to be careful. Go ahead, I won't be going." As he spoke, he sat down with a sullen expression. "What's the matter?" Chu Yang suddenly felt that something was wrong. What was it that made this cat teacher so gloomy? This guy had always been a heartless person. Nothing. Teacher Cat sighed. He wanted to say something but stopped. Finally, he waved his hand and said, "You can go walk around." Then he turned and went into his room. He even closed the door with a bang. Chu Yang rubbed his nose, feeling a little confused. He didn't know how to react at all. Finally, he turned and left. Teacher Cat seemed to have something to do. But it shouldn't be something urgent. It wouldn't be too late to come back at night to interrogate him. The matter over there was more important. The Spirit Beast Trading Center should be more convenient than the gambling center. Success or failure depended on this. Chu Yang was determined to dig out the secret today. "Sir, are you here to choose a spirit beast?" "Ah. Sir, are you planning to rent or buy?" "Buy." "Great. You can choose whatever you want. I have the most complete collection here. I have a complete and strong team of hunters. Do you want adult spirit beasts or young spirit beasts? Let's take a look first. This way, please." "Ah. Oh right. Do you want a flying spirit beast or a fighting spirit beast? Or a supporting spirit beast? Or a riding spirit beast? I have poisonous spirit beasts. Or, I want one that can shut you up. Do you have one?" Chu Yang slowly walked over. He couldn't help but feel a little dazzled. There were simply too many types of spirit beasts here. There were too many of them that Chu Yang had never seen before. "Buddy, you go greet the others first. I'll call you if I need you." Chu Yang casually tossed out a purple soul coin. "Thank you for your reward, sir." That person left happily. "I met a rich man, haha." Shjay immediately quieted down. Chu Yang looked at this person's departing figure, and couldn't help but sigh deeply. Profound level. This level of cultivation was roughly equivalent to the 1st to 3rd grade of supreme martial artist in the heavenly realm. If he was in the Chongqian continent, even in the upper 3 heavens, such a cultivation base would not be enough. He could also be considered a top-notch figure. Even if they couldn't dominate a region, they would at least be famous. However, in this Heaven Imperial Court, he was just a shop assistant who sold spiritual beast. He even looked like he was enjoying it. He had the demeanor of a strong man, and the pride of a strong man. For the sake of a single purple soul coin, they actually cheered happily and left satisfied. And he even had a fawning look on his face. Chu Yang really didn't know what was going on with this person. Or was this really natural selection, and the survival of the fittest? It had always been people adapting to the environment. It was very difficult for the environment to adapt to someone. Seeing that the shop assistant had left, Chu Yang squatted down. In front of him, there was a row of small cages. Inside, there were fire foxes whose skin was as red as blood. On the other side, there were small wolves with golden skin. These two species were young beasts, and looked like they were only 2 to 3 months old. All of them were petite. They looked very young. In other words, they were very cute. However, Chu Yang didn't dare to underestimate them. Since Nungo was being sold here, he believed that they were spirit beasts with ranks. In this heaven imperial court, spirit beasts with ranks were definitely not cute. They were ferocious beasts in their bones. Chu Yang pretended to be squatting on the ground to carefully examine the cub. In fact, he was silently operating the heaven-splitting divine technique and gradually releasing his own aura. Before this, Chu Yang had used all the divine techniques that he knew at least once. The heaven-led divine technique was no exception. However, in the noisy environment of the spirit beast game field, it was really hard to make a judgment. Now was the best time to confirm. A misty fog that was hard to see with the naked eye was emitted from Chu Yang's body, and entered the small cages in front of him. Squeak squeak tilde tilde woo woo tilde tilde. The cries of the fire foxes and golden wolves sounded at the same time. The young beasts in the cages seemed to have noticed something, and stood up almost at the same time. They looked at Chu Yang suspiciously, as if they had discovered something, but couldn't be sure. Chu Yang was delighted. This kind of look was exactly the same as the look that Mo Qingwu's wind fox had when it looked at Chu Yang. Chu Yang could even say with certainty that if these little fellows were confined in a cage and could move freely, they would have already started to circle around the city. Chu Yang's heaven-led divine technique was circulating faster and faster, and the aura that flowed out of his body was also increasing. However, at this moment, something unexpected happened. Just when Chu Yang thought that the heaven-led divine technique's aura would attract more spirit beasts' attention, these little fellows turned their heads and went to do their own things. Although they would occasionally turn their heads and look at Chu Yang in confusion, the frequency was almost negligible. Chu Yang immediately frowned. What was going on? Why was it like this again? Chu Yang could be sure that the heaven-led divine technique definitely had some effect, but it was due to some unknown factor that led to the current situation. However, where did the problem come from? Sword Spirit, did you discover anything this time? Chu Yang asked in his consciousness. Since he couldn't figure it out, he naturally had to ask the Sword Spirit. The Sword Spirit was the expert in judging energy. Not for the time being. Let's do it again. The Sword Spirit's voice rang out. Since the first time, the two of them had started to experiment endlessly. The Sword Spirit was in charge of monitoring the inside of the tribulation space, but he couldn't figure out where this inexplicable problem came from. Chu Yang retracted the heaven-led divine technique and took a few steps forward, changing to another batch of spirit beasts. He squatted on the ground again and circulated the technique. At this time, there were also people walking around from time to time, gradually getting closer and further away. Waves of ridicule could be heard. Look at that idiot. Squatting in front of a batch of the lowest grade spirit beasts and concentrating so hard to choose. He must be an amateur. Anyone with a bit of knowledge wouldn't choose those trash. That's right. Even if he chooses a king from among them, what's the use? Aren't low-grade spirit beast kings still trash? They're still in the low-grade category. I think he's just someone who has money to burn. What an idiot. One look and I can tell that he's a professional prodigal. No vision, no knowledge, no brain, no trash. Chu Yang turned a deaf ear to all of this and wholeheartedly circulated the heaven-led divine technique again, once again. And again, time and time again, it was futile. The people in the tribulation space kept changing. Everyone who saw Chu Yang's actions had the same contempt and ridicule. Especially some of the young men with female companions. It was as if insulting other men in front of their female companions would make them look even more brilliant and powerful. They spared no effort and spoke more viciously, words that were unpleasant to the ear, accompanied by waves of bell-like laughter and pretentious pouting. It was transmitted to Chu Yang's ears again and again. Seeing that Chu Yang was about to be angered by the tribulation space's ridicule, the sword spirit cried out excitedly. Found it, found it. So that's it. So that's it. What? Found it. Chu Yang jumped up excitedly and laughed loudly. It's really found it. The few young men and women in the tribulation space were shocked by Chu Yang's huge reaction and retreated a few steps at the same time. Then, they burst into laughter. Don't tell me this guy found something in that group of mountain drilling rats. Did he find the mountain drilling rat king? Even if he found the mountain drilling rat king, what's the use of it? Let me think. Oh right, the meat should be more delicious. No wonder he's so excited. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha, most of the people who came here to pick spirit beasts were here to gamble. What's the use of picking a group of rats? No matter how strong a rat is, it's still a rat, scram. Chu Yang stood up suddenly and shouted. The strength of a peak mortal was unleashed without reservation at this moment. The group of young men and women could only feel their ears buzzing. Only then did they realize that this fool in front of them was actually an expert. Their faces turned pale and they scattered like birds and beasts. Just based on this point alone, he was no different from the tribulation space. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong, there was no difference. What's going on? Hurry up and tell me. Don't make me anxious. Chu Yang asked impatiently. Actually, it's like this. The sword spirit's face was actually a little embarrassed as he said, the previous few times, I've been observing the broken shits, which are the changes in the small animal's expressions. I didn't find anything at all. This time, I thought that this change might be caused by the shits at the beginning. So this time, I chose to observe the beginning. Shits. Beginning? What's going on? When your tribulation space divine technique starts to operate, a small crack will open in the purple cloud tower. The sword spirit smiled bitterly. From this small crack, a little bit of purple cloud spiritual energy will leak out. The demon race, or rather, the spirit beasts, are especially sensitive to this purple cloud spiritual energy. They seem to have noticed this little bit of purple cloud spiritual energy, which is why they see you in a different light. Chapter 1750. Realization dawned on Chu Yang. I see. Suddenly, he wanted to slap himself in the face. If he had known earlier, he would have. This was such a simple matter. Did he have to put in so much effort? Why do the spirit beasts like the smell of the purple firmament tower so much? Chu Yang immediately thought of another question. I'm not sure about this. The sword spirit was a little ashamed. Chu Yang looked around and saw that there was no one around. He quietly took the purple firmament tower out of the tribulation space and put it in his arms. This purple firmament tower had once turned into a tall mountain in the upper three heavens. Its spiritual energy was dense and its status was transcendent. It was majestic and unshakable. But now, in Chu Yang's hand, it was only the size of a finger. It was so small and exquisite that it looked more like a child's toy. However, the moment this toy-like purple firmament pagoda was taken out, the entire spirit beast trading market was thrown into chaos. For a moment, all the spirit beasts became restless as if they were rebelling. They shook their heads and wagged their tails, jumping up and down. It was as if doomsday had arrived and the god of death was right in front of them. The specific behavior was as follows. The wild wolf, which had been tamed for several years, suddenly bit the hand of the breeder fiercely. Then, it struggled to break free from the shackles and rushed over like a madman, even though its skin and flesh were torn. The white tiger, which had been here for more than a year and had long been confirmed by the breeder to have lost its wild nature, suddenly roared fiercely. Its momentum shook the heavens and the earth, showing the might of a beast king. The earth dragon roared madly, as if this was its final moment. The fire bird almost shook off all the feathers on its wings in a frenzy. Even the highly poisonous seven-colored poisonous snake was moving around impatiently. It hissed and flicked its tongue. Its originally cold-blooded eyes were now filled with impatience. The entire spirit-beast trading market was instantly in chaos. It was unbelievably chaotic. All the managers were in a state of panic. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen people were bitten and pecked by the spirit beasts. Several people were bleeding and their faces quickly turned black and purple. These people were obviously poisoned. A poison that could easily endanger their lives. But the safety preparations of the spirit beast trading market were still in place. In just a moment, many people came to help and laid out stretchers. He dragged the poisoned and injured people up and disappeared like a whirlwind. Many high-level martial artists also rushed over one after another. They went near some high-rank spirit beasts and kept suppressing them, hoping that the spirit beast's fear of formidable deterrence would calm them down. Many other waiters came over and kept apologizing to the guests and wishing them a happy new year. Anyway, you hear what's good. In short, the entire spirit beast arena fell into extreme chaos. However, no one noticed that in such a chaotic place, a super nouveau riche was the one who started all this. And this super nouveau riche was still squatting there like he was taking a dump. He was petrified. Even the service staff who were responsible for comforting the guests did not notice the petrified Chu Yang. The guests present were either panicking, angry, or even trying to take advantage of the situation. However, no one was petrified. Moreover, he was petrified in the posture of defecating. The reason why Chu Yang was so petrified was because Chu Yang really couldn't think of anything. As soon as the purple firmament pagoda was taken out, it actually had such a powerful effect. It was simply going to turn the world upside down. Some of the spirit beasts that had turned a blind eye to him suddenly regarded him as their savior. The spirit beasts who had rolled their eyes at him. Suddenly, they were as close as brothers who had been separated for 100,000 years. It turned out that it wasn't the fear of the end of the world or the fear of death. Instead, it was the excitement of suddenly feeling the most intimate and irresistible feeling and taste. The enthusiasm of this moment made Chu Yang directly stunned. It was really too unexpected. What was this situation? Looking at all the spirit beasts around him being so affectionate, even if they were separated by cages, even if their bones were broken and their claws were broken, they still wanted to squeeze over. Those pairs of eyes were surging with strong feelings that did not care about life and death. Chu Yang suddenly felt his hair stand on end. Was this the hidden mysterious power of the Purple Firmament Tower? Did the Purple Firmament Tower actually have the mysterious power to attract all the spirit beasts in the world? What exactly did the Purple Firmament Emperor leave behind? Or, what did he do in the past? Or, was he actually, what was he? Chu Yang held the Purple Firmament Tower in his hand again. The next moment, Chu Yang actually clearly felt that his divine sense that had been sealed by the heavenly imperial palace boundary suddenly unfolded again without any restrictions at this moment. The power of this Purple Firmament Tower could actually easily break through the divine sense seal brought about by the heavenly imperial palace without any effort. If it was just a breakthrough, it would be enough to be shocking. But what really shocked Chu Yang was that the power of the Purple Firmament Tower could break through the heavenly imperial palace boundary without any sound and without attracting anyone's attention at all. The power of this power had already completely exceeded Chu Yang's understanding. It was really too powerful. What exactly was the Purple Firmament Tower? How could he have such a mysterious and powerful thing? Chu Yang's divine sense actually enveloped the spirit beast trading market within a radius of a few hundred miles in an instant. At this moment, Chu Yang felt like a fish that had returned to the sea. That kind of freedom and comfort that he had not felt for a long time made him truly feel what it was like to be in heaven and to want to die. It was like a blind person who suddenly regained his sight. The excitement in his heart was forcibly suppressed by Chu Yang. Excitement, happiness, it was not good to overdo it. A mistake would lead to disaster. The scene before him was a clear proof. Right now, the most important thing was to find a spirit beast that could make him rich. Chu Yang immediately began to search. Chu Yang, who had recovered his divine sense, was confident that he could find the target he was looking for in an instant, but he failed. He didn't find it. It would be strange if he could find it. Chu Yang's divine sense had recovered. Nothing in the entire spirit-beast trading market could hide from his senses. But this had nothing to do with the target spirit-beast he was looking for. As far as his divine sense could reach, all the spirit-beasts in the entire spirit-beast trading market were cheering and jumping enthusiastically. Chu Yang only felt that his eyes were dazzled. He didn't know which one to choose. Sword Spirit? Chu Yang could only ask the Sword Spirit for help because he was really a little confused. The Sword Spirit also spent a lot of effort to carefully observe. He hesitated for a long time, frowned and said, "What is this? I saw it clearly just now. So I couldn't find the target. Now that I've seen it all clearly, I still can't find the target. I really don't understand. Which one is the target you want? Although each spirit beast here has a rank, it's not high enough. If you really put them on the field, the chances of winning are very small. Do you plan to make money by relying on them? It's good enough that you don't lose money." Chu Yang frowned. He walked forward and said, "Since you've seen it clearly, introduce the spirit beasts to me. This is not a problem." The spirit beasts in the Heavenly Imperial Court can be roughly divided into 4 levels: Xian, Earth, Heaven, and Saint. This classification corresponds to the martial artist's rank. Each level is divided into 3 grades, upper and lower. The Xian level is the lowest. As long as there is an Earth level spirit beast has the ability to sweep away all the spirit beasts in this Xixia city. As for the Heaven level, it belongs to the legendary level and is relatively rare. As for the Saint level, it's a legend among legends. Even the legends say that there are only 3 to 5 of them. Moreover, no one has seen it with their own eyes. The spirit beasts here, most of them belong to the Xian level, and most of them are at the lower level. Only a small portion of them are at the Earth level, and only 2 or 3 of them are at the upper level. Moreover, they are all cubs. Such cubs need to be trained for at least 10 years before they can participate in battles. Moreover, the price to buy them is very high. Chu Yang frowned tightly. According to his experience, the auras of the spirit beasts that could dominate the spirit beasts gaming field were much more powerful than the spirit beasts here. There was simply no comparison between the two. If so, then wouldn't he have come here in vain? Just as he was pondering, his eyes suddenly lit up. He saw a strange spirit beast hiding in a corner of the spirit beast transaction center. The reason why Chu Yang was interested in this spirit beast was very simple. Almost all the spirit beasts in the entire spirit beast transaction center were agitated by the aura of the purple firmament tower. But this spirit beast didn't become agitated. In fact, it even seemed to be disdainful of the aura of the purple firmament tower. It merely rolled its eyelids, and then drooped them down. It continued to lie there lazily, and looked half dead. Huh! Chu Yang couldn't help but be surprised when he noticed this. All the spirit beasts had gone crazy, but this guy was still indifferent. "What's wrong? Did you find something?" the sword spirit asked. Nothing. Chu Yang had already walked over with quick steps. There wasn't much time left. So, Chu Yang quickly walked to the side of that strange spirit beast. Speaking of being strange, this spirit beast was indeed extremely strange. It was sloppy and slovenly. Its appearance was also very strange. It was lying there. Its entire body was 30 feet long. Its fur was brightly colored. At first glance, it looked like a tiger. But it didn't have the king character on its forehead. Its tail was curled up into a ball. It wasn't drooping like a tiger's tail. Its ears were perked up, and they weren't big. They were a little pointy, and the look in its eyes was very strange. This animal's eyes were somewhat lazy. Although it looked very similar to a tiger, the difference in aura was too great. However, if this thing was a kitten that had been magnified hundreds of times, it seemed to be very similar to the image. But how could there be such a big cat in the world? If a cat could grow so big, then how could there be a tiger in the world? It would be better to call it a cat. The more Chu Yang looked at it, the stranger it became. This guy looked like a cat, but also like a tiger. It looked like a cat, but also like a tiger. He had never seen such a strange guy in his memory. What was it? Chapter 1751. Another strange thing about this strange animal was that it wasn't confined in a cage. Instead, it was lying on its side, lazily basking in the sun. There were no ropes or chains around its neck either. In other words, the harmless image of this guy was probably already deeply rooted in people's hearts. The truth was probably not far from this. Chu Yang walked up to it, squatted down and observed it carefully. When this strange animal saw that a human had arrived, it also opened its lazy eyes and looked at Chu Yang. Deep in its eyes, there was actually a trace of disdain and contempt. It was a kind of faint contempt. Although it was like the wind passing by without a trace, it really existed. It was as if the gods of the heavens were looking down on mortals. It was as if they were not in their eyes at all, as if they were looking down on mortals. Only when Chu Yang got closer did he realize that the fur all over this guy's body was almost purple. It actually faintly exuded a kind of aura. Sword spirit, take a closer look. Do you recognize what kind of spirit beast this is? The more Chu Yang looked, the more curious he became. I really haven't seen it before. The sword spirit carefully identified it for a moment and finally shook his head gloomily. Swordmaster, this doesn't seem to be a spirit beast. It's just an ordinary wild beast. Ordinary wild beast? Chu Yang was stunned. It can't be. Why would an ordinary wild beast be here? You must be mistaken. It doesn't make sense. That strange animal suddenly growled from its throat. It rolled its eyes and looked at Chu Yang. Then, it rolled over and lay down on its back. It seemed that it had completely lost interest in a certain king of hell in front of it and was turning a blind eye to him. The next moment, it stretched out a front paw and scratched its belly contentedly. It seemed that this seemingly intentional and unintentional action had already exceeded the boundary of turning a blind eye. It directly treated Chu Yang in front of it as heir. This guy looked very sloppy. But the fur on its belly was actually snow-white and spotless. It was really clean to the extreme. Seeing this, Chu Yang's eyes lit up again. A strange species must have something strange about it. Even if this guy in front of him was a real wild beast, it was still a strange wild beast. Then, Chu Yang put away the purple cloud tower and waved his hand to summon the steward here. Buddy, what kind of spirit beast is this? Chu Yang asked. The steward looked at Chu Yang with a funny expression and couldn't help but laugh. He said, "Guest, this is not a spirit beast, what a fucking joke." There was actually someone who had taken a fancy to this lazy guy who was just waiting to die. Something new had happened today. First, the animals that had not been seen in 100 years were inexplicably agitated. Following that, there was another idiot who mistook a wild beast for a spirit beast. He even seemed to have the intention of buying it. This was simply too refreshing. There were so many spirit beasts here, yet he didn't look at them. Instead, he took a fancy to an ordinary beast that didn't know how to do anything. If he didn't have too much money to burn, then he was a complete idiot. Do you think that choosing a spirit beast is like choosing a pet? You're saying that this isn't a spirit beast? Chu Yang frowned. Since it's not a spirit beast, why did you place it here? Dear guest, please listen to me. Actually, I don't know the exact origins of this fellow, but I heard from my senior that this beast came to us on its own and wasn't captured by our company's beast-catching team. I don't know when exactly it came, but it seemed to have suddenly appeared. And after it came here, it has been very docile. It ate whatever was there to eat, and didn't eat anything else. It has been lying here all this time, not moving at all. And it won't cause any trouble. Although it's huge in size, it's very obedient. If it wasn't for the fact that it's completely harmless, why do you think we placed it here without confinement? The steward rolled his eyes and said, "But, dear guest, in fact, this fellow is indeed very cute. If you want to buy it back as a pet or something, it'll definitely be worth the money. It'll definitely be awe-inspiring when you bring it out." It was rare that someone had taken a fancy to this fellow that no one would want even if it was given away for free. How could he not brag about it? If he could really sell it, he could even get back some money for the feed. There weren't many spendthrifts like this in this Heaven Imperial Court. Just based on this fellow's size, it's definitely not wrong. By the way, What kind of species is this fellow? A tiger? Or something else? This fellow belongs to your shop, so you must have some information about it, right? Chu Yang asked with great interest. This? I really don't know. In our Heaven Imperial Court, there's no record of such a strange animal. No one has ever seen it before. If you ask me, maybe it's some legendary rare beast. Seeing that this fellow was really interested, the steward suddenly became spirited and hurriedly boasted about it vigorously. Finally, this foodie was going to be sold. According to the analysis of my seniors, this fellow may also be the crossbreed of a cat and a tiger. As the steward said this, the corner of his mouth twitched. Chu Yang's eyes widened. What? The crossbreed of a cat and a tiger? Your cat can crossbreed with a tiger? Damn it, how can it be crossbred? Did a cat crossbreed with a tiger, or did a tiger crossbreed with a cat? Let's not talk about whether it's possible or not, let's talk about the size first. A tiger's thing is also bigger than a cat's, right? A cat's thing is not even as good as a toothpick to a tiger. How do you explain it? The steward was dumbfounded and sweated profusely. Didn't I just say something wrong? Do you have to be so agitated? I'm talking about the animal, not you. What the steward didn't know was that behind him, the strange animal also propped up half of its body and glared fiercely at the steward's back. It opened its mouth and revealed its white fangs. Even the fur on its head stood up one by one, as if it was unable to restrain its anger. But then, it lowered its head and continued to scratch its stomach. All right, stop talking nonsense. Just tell me how much this wild beast is worth. Chu Yang asked. A certain king of hell wasn't stupid. He directly locked the price on the wild beast. You dare to sell a wild beast at the price of a spirit beast? If you really want to buy it, then. The steward's eyes turned. 50 purple soul coins. Seeing that Chu Yang's expression was unhappy, he hurriedly said, Sir, 50 purple soul coins really isn't much. Such a big one, even if you kill it and sell it, you can sell it for dozens of purple soul coins. When the feline that looked like a cat and tiger heard this, the fur on its body stood up again. All right. Chu Yang didn't intend to bargain. He happily gave the money. When he said wild beast just now, it was probably a psychological hint. He was afraid that the steward would be suspicious and cause unnecessary trouble. This fellow could ignore the aura of the purple firmament tower. What kind of wild beast could do that? Just this point alone made Chu Yang recognize that it was extraordinary. Not to mention 50 purple soul coins, even if it was 50 purple cloud coins, Chu Yang felt that it was worth it. But now, it was better to save as much as possible. If he really gave a high price, it might attract suspicion. The manager received the 50 purple spirit coins and immediately beamed with joy. Congratulations, esteemed guest, this ferocious beast is now yours. Although it's not a spirit beast, its appearance is definitely one of a kind in the Heaven Imperial Court. Just this point alone, even if you don't make a profit, you'll still be awe-inspiring when you take it out. Don't you think so? Chu Yang frowned. He snorted and said, What a load of nonsense. Would my eyesight be wrong? Oh right, how do I take it away? Do I need to sign a divine contract? The steward's eyes widened to the extreme. If it weren't for his eyes, they might have shot out. He stuttered, Sir, you want to sign a divine contract with such a wild beast? Just now, he was praising this fellow to the heavens. Maybe the legendary rare beast had become a wild beast in the blink of an eye. The steward cursed in his heart, Can you be any more stupid? This fellow's brain must be damaged. There are so many spirit beasts out there, and you want to sign a contract with an ordinary wild beast. No attack, no defense, no speed. It had no strength, it was a product that was completely useless from head to toe. This fellow's brain must have been kicked by a donkey. Nonsense, Chu Yang said matter-of-factly. If I don't sign a contract, how can I take it away? Is your brain damaged, or has it been kicked by a donkey? Why are you asking such stupid questions? How can your boss be at ease with you serving customers? The steward's face twisted. After a while, he said, Signing a contract requires another 100 purple soul coins. Since you want to sign a contract with a piece of trash, why should I stop you? Anyway, I'm not the unlucky one. When the time comes, I'll know who's the one whose brain was damaged and who was kicked by a donkey. Chu Yang was very straightforward. Isn't it just 100 purple soul coins? Take it. The steward took out a piece of beast parchment. On it, the seal of the Heavenly Watchtower's Eastern Royal Heavenly Oath Division was impressively written. First, he burned incense and prayed. Then, he took out a bottle of strong alcohol and poured it on the oath. When Chu Yang and the strange animal were not far apart, the oath suddenly lit up. The oath paper instantly scattered into specks of starlight and flew towards the foreheads of Chu Yang and the wild beast. A trace of disdain flashed past the eyes of the fellow lying lazily on the ground. It didn't resist at all during the entire process. To be more precise, it didn't even react much. A certain king of hell, who was full of joy, felt that he had succeeded. He suddenly screamed, and his divine sense, which had just recovered, was almost completely scattered. The steward, who was carrying out the oath, let out a miserable groan at the same time. He spat out a mouthful of blood and almost fainted. Chu Yang could clearly feel that the power of the oath had actually rebounded violently. For a moment, he was confused. Why? Why? The steward said in a daze. Why did this happen? What's going on? The strange animal that looked like a cat and a tiger lazily rolled its eyes. It was still indifferent, as if all this had nothing to do with it. Under Chu Yang's constant urging, the steward didn't believe in heresy and changed the oath paper again. This time, it was very straightforward. Chu Yang screamed and jumped up. He had a splitting headache, and it wasn't fake at all. The steward directly twitched and spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. Then, he fainted magnificently. The sword spirit, who was in the tribulation space, was dumbfounded by this unexpected situation. This, what exactly is going on? I just applied for a public WeChat account. Everyone, quickly take out your phones and add me. You can go to my Sina Weibo or Tencent Weibo to see the pinned Weibo. You can scan the QR code there. You can also directly search for the account, Z79062520030723. My nickname is Wind Conquers the World. You can find me. Come quickly, I'm waiting for you. Brothers and sisters, welcome to join. If there's any new news in the future, I'll share it with you at any time. It's my first time doing it, and I don't have any experience. Then, I made the number too long. Sigh, it's a mistake. I hope everyone doesn't mind. The point is, it's my first time doing it. Come on, brothers and sisters, what are you waiting for? Arth. Chapter 1752. Chu Yang had a flash of inspiration. Does the problem come from this beast? What kind of beast can be so evil? Chu Yang went forward, and put on a very amiable and cordial face. Then, he said in an extremely gentle voice, "Hey, buddy, do you want to go out with me for a stroll? How about we go and conquer the world together?" The sword spirit held his forehead in the tribulation space and almost fainted. "Oh, my lord swordmaster, even if you talk to a spirit beast like this, it won't understand, let alone an ordinary beast. What kind of master did I follow?" This strange animal raised its head and looked at Chu Yang. Then, it lazily lowered its head again. It doesn't seem to understand. This possibility is more likely. It would be strange if it could understand. That's a beast. Of course. There's another possibility. That meant that he understood but was unwilling. Damn you, with your poor and destitute appearance, you still want me to follow you and suffer hardships. Anyway, no matter which possibility it is, there's a little bit of disdain in it. Are you willing to be my partner? Let's be friends. I'm very sincere. Don't tell me that this sincere face of mine isn't enough to explain the problem. Chu Yang didn't give up and asked. He directly threw away his face. That guy lowered its head and began to comb its beard with its claws. It completely ignored Chu Yang. Damn it. Chu Yang grabbed this guy and wanted to pull it up and take it away, but he unexpectedly found that this guy was as heavy as a mountain and didn't move at all. Damn it. Chu Yang cursed in his heart. The strength of his hands is more than 10 million pounds. Although he didn't use all his strength when he pulled just now, even 100 adult tigers would have been lifted up. But now, he can't pull this guy. Moreover, it made a few grunting sounds and rolled its eyes. It was obviously a little dissatisfied. I obviously don't want to go with you, so why are you pulling me? Chu Yang was also stunned. What the hell is going on? I've paid the money, but the contract can't be completed. It seems that I can't take it away. Isn't it stupid? The sword spirit was full of suspicions. Lord Swordmaster, why do you want this useless guy? This guy doesn't even have the slightest bit of offensive power. Even if we bring him back, it has nothing to do with your grand plan. Chu Yang frowned and said, my intuition tells me that this guy is very unusual. Moreover, although his current body looks huge, it actually gives people a dreamlike illusory feeling. Just now when I grabbed it with my hands, it seemed to really exist. This guy is definitely not simple. He's definitely not an ordinary wild beast. The sword spirit scoffed at this. I really can't see what's so special about this guy. Is it that it's rare to be both a cat and a tiger? From the looks of it, it was at most a piece of trash that could be slaughtered and eaten. Otherwise, it would be kept for fun. Although Chu Yang really wanted her, he couldn't take her away. So, he could only sigh helplessly. He sighed and said, I can't believe that I, the master of the Calamity Sword, a legendary legend, can't even take a tiger away. He suddenly felt that the world was very vast. The Calamity Sword seemed to have sensed something. Unconvinced, it jumped in his dantian. Chu Yang waved his hand and summoned the Calamity Sword. It turned into a palm-sized dagger and lay flat in his palm. He smiled bitterly and said, you also don't feel strong. You're still the best. You'll never leave me. However, the moment Chu Yang took out the Calamity Sword, the animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger suddenly trembled, as if it suddenly felt something unbelievable. Then, it stood up with a whoosh. The next moment, it was already in front of Chu Yang. Its two eyes stared at the Calamity Sword without blinking. Its curled tail kept wagging. Deep in its eyes, it was actually moved, excited, and eager. Then, it raised its head and looked at Chu Yang. Chu Yang could clearly see that this guy's eyes were actually slowly filled with tears. It was a kind of bitterness caused by extreme excitement. It was as if a loving couple who hadn't seen each other for 8 million years suddenly reunited on the war-torn streets. This kind of gaze even made Chu Yang shudder. This guy looks like a male. Why is he looking at me like this? What's going on? It can't be that he suddenly lost his mind, right? What's going on? What's wrong with you? Chu Yang asked dumbfoundedly. There was a bit of fear in his tone. He saw that guy slowly crawl in front of him. It rubbed its head against his trousers, sniffed, and whimpered. Its voice seemed to be filled with infinite sadness and disappointment. It raised its head again and looked at the Calamity Sword for a long time, motionless. Then, it circled around her once, and its tears actually fell in a circle just like that. Patter, patter. What's going on? What's going on? Chu Yang was a bit stiff. How could a beast be so emotional? How could it have such rich emotions? It actually cried. After the animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger circled around Chu Yang, it raised its head and whimpered at Chu Yang. Then, it nodded and said, meow. Chu Yang almost fell over in shock. This guy that was even bigger than a tiger actually opened its mouth and meowed like a cat. Oh, my God, what's going on? This world is chaotic and crazy. Even a tiger can meow like a cat. Could it be a foreign language? Then, Chu Yang suddenly felt a clear message in his mind. Where did you get this sword? Chu Yang was startled and subconsciously answered, this sword is mine. After answering, he realized, hey, who was talking to me just now? Yours. The clear message continued, with a heartfelt joy and an irrepressible excitement. Well, it's great. I've waited for so long. You just said that you want to be my partner. Do you want to treat me as a friend? Only then did Chu Yang realize. It turned out that the one who was communicating with him was actually this animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger on the ground. He couldn't help but let out a strange cry and said, You can speak human language? It actually knew more than 2 foreign languages. What a talent. Well, it should be a beast talent. The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger rolled its eyes, and the message continued to come, "You're really strange. Why did he find a successor like you? Your eyesight is really bad." Who? Who are you talking about? Chu Yang's heart almost stopped beating. It seemed that this beast's background was quite big. Humph. The feline said, "Let's not talk about those useless things first. Let's just talk about whether what you just said is true or not. You just said that you want to go out with me to conquer the world. We are partners, friends. Not a superior and subordinate relationship." Of course. Chu Yang only felt that his heart was thumping. Even he himself didn't know why he was so excited. "I always keep my word." Yes. Immediately, Chu Yang felt an exceptionally pure power unfold in front of him. Then, that power of nothingness unexpectedly formed a clear oath in front of him. Equal brotherhood contract. Chu Yang still recognized this oath. "As long as you sign it, we will be brothers from now on. You call me Big Brother, and I will be responsible for protecting you." The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger's voice was incomparably lively. "I will take you to create a legend." Create a legend? Chu Yang was stunned. He was completely stunned. Fuck, I came here to buy a spirit beast, but now I'm actually going to be taken in as a little brother by a spirit beast. If this were to spread out, Minister Chu might as well kill himself. Don't think about any lofty ambitions. You are already reduced to a spirit beast subordinate. How can you fight for hegemony in Jianghu? I can sign an equal oath. Chu Yang firmly shook his head. "But I must be the big brother." The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger had a face full of disdain, and continued to send a message. "How old are you?" 20. What's wrong? Meow meow. Do you know how old I am? You dare to say that you are the big brother at such a young age? Then how old are you? In any case, I am older than you. So, I am the big brother, and you are my little brother. That won't do. This thing is not based on age. Besides, I am a human. What's so great about a human? In any case, I must be the big brother. No, I want to be the big brother. I must be the big brother. Both sides argued in their minds for a while. Unexpectedly, both of them felt their faces turn red. This feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger obviously looked down on Chu Yang, and continued to send a message. "No, with your little cultivation, with your little achievements, you want to be my big brother? No matter what you say, the big brother must be me. That's settled." Chu Yang rolled his eyes. "Settled? You say it's settled? Who do you think you are? With your appearance, with your sloppy appearance, with your behavior that is neither like a cat nor a tiger, and that makes people suspicious, you want to be my boss? Wishful thinking. Let me tell you, the big brother must be me. Only when I say it will it count." Meow. What did you say? I am going to be angry. I am really going to be angry. A certain feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger jumped up and down. It was really hard to imagine that such a huge body could be so agile. Even a real cat was not as agile as this. "I am the one who is going to be angry. Since we can't come to an agreement, then let's forget about it." Chu Yang rolled his eyes and said, "As the saying goes, even half a sentence is too much when you can't see eye to eye with me. I certainly won't be your little brother. So, you don't need to be my big brother anymore. Let's part ways from here on. Let's go our separate ways." After that, he turned around and left without any reluctance. Whoosh. Somehow, that fellow had already blocked Chu Yang's way. His speed was really fast, like a ghost. He said in exasperation, "You are not allowed to leave. We haven't made it clear yet. Where are you going?" Seeing that this beast had such a terrifying speed, Chu Yang was also shocked. But being shocked was one thing, and he still had to reason. He said angrily, "You are not allowed to leave. Why should I listen to you? I will leave if I want to. We have already made it clear that we are going our separate ways. Why haven't we made it clear? Is there something wrong with your brain? Can't you understand human language?" The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger said angrily, "You dare to say that I don't understand human language? Let me ask you, what am I going to do if you leave?" Chapter 1753. What? What are you going to do? Someone like you dares to say that ZJ can understand human language? Chuyong rolled his eyes. You are destined to be a big brother. You are destined to have nothing to do with me. In the past, you won't have anything to do with me now. Don't tell me you can't live after I leave. Someone's big brother? The feline and tiger-like fellow meowed angrily. Anyway, you are not allowed to leave. Why don't you try leaving? This time, the unconscious manager seemed to show signs of waking up. He moaned softly. The feline and tiger-like fellow moved and appeared beside the manager again like a ghost. Then, he slapped him with his claws very savagely. It was as if he was venting. Pa. The head of a certain steward, who was already unconscious, suddenly tilted to the side. He was sent flying a distance of 30 to 40 feet before landing on the ground. 2 shiny teeth flew out of his mouth. Without any suspense, he once again fell into a deep coma. After doing all this, he flashed again and blocked in front of Chuyong, not allowing him to leave. He looked a little anxious. The entire process seemed to have happened in the blink of an eye. Adding everything together, it did not even seem to have taken a single breath. This strength was enough to make a certain king of hell speechless. Could ZJ do it? The answer was obviously no. This fellow was so violent. And he actually knew how to slap. And he did it so smoothly. This made Chuyong look at him in a new light. Such a clumsy and huge body. Chuyong made a judgment. That beast paw just now, if he slapped ZJ, it seemed that ZJ might not be able to dodge it. Did you see that? If you dare to leave, I'll make sure your flowers turn red today. Tell me, what do you want? I will definitely not call you big brother. Chuyong was also on the verge of breaking down. Looking at the situation in front of him, if he left, ZJ would definitely not be able to leave. But if he stayed, he would most likely have to call him big brother. No. He was calling a spirit beast big brother. This was something that Chuyong could not tolerate. Anyway, don't even think about leaving. This fellow was also on the verge of breaking down. It seemed to be very conflicted. Anyway, you have to call me big brother. If you don't call me big brother, don't even think about leaving. Call me big brother and we will leave together. Get lost. If you want me to call you big brother, I will never call you big brother. Chuyong was annoyed and walked away. Let's go our separate ways. He would rather be beaten to death than be scared to death. If ZJ was scared by someone, he would be scared to death. Calling him big brother? Is that Chuyong? Was he still the legendary master of Calamity Sword? After taking 5 steps, Chuyong realized that he couldn't move at all. The air around his body became incomparably viscous. It seemed that the word viscous was not very appropriate to describe it. It should be said that it had completely condensed into a substance. No matter how viscous the BJNG was, it was still mobile. Chuyong couldn't even lift his leg. The sword spirit in the tribulation space suddenly widened his eyes. Unbelievable. What kind of situation is this? This was not something that any Shma beast could do. No, even if it was a human, how many people could do it? Could it be the legendary space freezing? It couldn't be. ZJ was a lazy fellow that he didn't even take a second look at. How could he have such unfathomable strength? This Shma was too crazy. Even a beast could be so domineering and insufferably arrogant. Chuyong was trapped. He couldn't move even a little bit. However, he didn't panic. You want to follow me? Sure. You have to call me big brother. Chuyong rolled his eyes. Otherwise, don't even think about following me. You can trap my body, but can you trap my heart? The cat and tiger spirit beast's throat kept gurgling. The calamity sword in Chuyong's hand shone brightly. It looked at the calamity sword with more and more admiration and attachment. Then, when it saw Chuyong's uncompromising expression, it had no choice but to lower its head. After all, the situation was stronger than the person. The initiative was in this small hand. All right, I'll let you off easy. Let's sign a partnership contract. You can do whatever you want, but I have a condition, the cat and tiger spirit beast said. Shma condition? Chuyong asked cautiously. Actually, it's not a condition. You have to call me by my name in the future, the cat and tiger spirit beast said. What? What did you say? You're saying that you want me to call you by your name in the future? Chu Yang was now very suspicious. Was there a problem with ZJ's comprehension ability, or was there a problem with this fellow's ability to organize his words? This is called a schmer condition. If I call you by your name, I have to call you by your name. If I don't call you by your name, how can I call you by your name? Is this fellow a schmer beast? Yes, this is the condition. Tell me if it's okay or not, the cat and tiger spirit beast said. Rugwa, if this is your condition, then I'll be magnanimous and promise you, Chu Yang said in a very graceful and elegant manner. You agreed. You promised me. If you go back on your word, don't worry. I won't go back on my word. As long as you listen to me in the future, I'll call you by your name. Then it's a deal. The cat and tiger spirit beast raised its head. I'll listen to you in the future, but you have to call me by my name when you call me by my name. My name is Big Brother Tiger. Remember to call me by my name. Fuck. Chu Yang was speechless again. It seemed that ZJ was played by a certain tiger. No wonder he brought up such a condition. So he was waiting for me to beat him up. His name is Big Brother Tiger. Why don't you call me Master Tiger? Oh heavens, oh earth, could it be that I, the Tribulation Sword Master, was tricked by a spirit beast? But this fellow is actually a tiger. There's actually a tiger with a mouth full of meowing in this world. He glanced sideways and said, Big Brother Tiger, you're a tiger. The way I see it, you're just a kitten at best, a slightly bigger kitten. The cat and tiger spirit beast flew into a rage. I'm a tiger, not a big cat. Also, when you call me by my name, you have to call me Big Brother Tiger. Meow. Chu Yang was speechless. Although he was depressed, he was secretly delighted. This was because Chu Yang had completely sensed the tyrannical strength of this guy when he displayed his might just now. Moreover, this tyrannical strength was suppressed with all his might, so it wouldn't be surprising if it was only 1/100th of his true strength. This astonishing strength made Chu Yang feel apprehensive. However, Chu Yang couldn't figure out why such a powerful spirit beast would appear here. Why would such a powerful spirit beast talk to the government so nicely? Why would such a powerful spirit beast acknowledge ZJ so quickly? Chu Yang could only vaguely confirm that there was definitely something going on with Tribulation Sword. Tribulation Sword. It should be the source of all the mysteries. He bit his index finger. A drop of dark red blood seeped out and entered the spirit beast contract circle made by Big Brother Tiger first. The blood seemed to have entered water. It gradually spread and quickly blended in. The rules of a spirit beast contract were as such. The blood that entered first was bigger. Chu Yang's blood entered first, which meant that Chu Yang had the absolute dominant position in the contract circle. Big Brother Tiger looked unwillingly at Chu Yang's blood seeping into the circle. That cat's face revealed a clear human-like annoyance. Then, it suddenly circulated its energy and forced out a drop of blood from its forehead. It entered the contract circle. In the blink of an eye, an invisible storm began to spread. In the clouds, the #1 general of the Eastern Royal Heavens Oath Department, who had nothing to do and wished that something would happen to pass the time, looked down in boredom. The continent, which he thought was ordinary and rarely had anything major happen, was suddenly sent tumbling by the powerful aura of the Oath of the Eastern Royal Heavens. It rolled around in the air like an embroidered ball. It kept spitting out blood. In the end, it had no strength to struggle. It was just rolling around in the clouds in an extremely sorry state. Slowly, it was almost at its last breath. How can this be? What's going on? What the hell happened? This #1 general of the Oath Department revealed a sincere fear in his eyes. He wanted to find out what went wrong. But he couldn't find out what happened. What kind of contract is this? Even I can't preside over it. It wants to destroy me, the one who presides over the contract. And it's going straight to heaven and earth. What is this? This #1 general asked in a low voice in pain and confusion. But his divine sense was slowly falling into unconsciousness. According to the rules, Chu Yang and Brother Tiger had to get the approval of the Oath Department to officially sign the contract. So, the power of the Oath rushed into the sky, seeking to be a witness. But the Oath Department clearly didn't have the strength to witness the Oath with such a powerful existence, so it suffered a backlash from the power of the Oath. In the end, this supervisor of the Oath Department fell unconscious. No, not only did he not wake up, but it seemed like he was about to die from the impact. The power of the Oath rushed to an unknown height. Then, an invisible force returned from the vast sky, entering Chu Yang and Brother Tiger's bodies and divine sense like lightning. Since no one could preside over the contract, let heaven and earth bear witness and preside over it. As for the supervisor of the Oath's division, who was known as the number 1 general, his soul was about to collapse. Fortunately, the power of the Oath's division came and went quickly. It did not make things difficult for him. If his soul was really destroyed, he would have completely disappeared. However, this general's condition was still very dangerous. If he couldn't be treated quickly, he would still die. In his last moments, his last bit of clarity told him that there was only one person in this land. Or, there was someone who could treat and save ZJ. That was ZJ's last hope, his only hope. And now, with his last bit of clarity, his divine sense wouldn't allow him to go too far. That's the only place that's close to me. Almost unconsciously, he tumbled and fell from the sky. With his last bit of clarity, he locked onto the target of ZJ's fall. Then, he completely lost his consciousness. Everything will be left to heaven's will. Chapter 1754. In the Eastern Royal Skies Oaths Department, the governor of the Oaths Department, whose cultivation base was unfathomable, was currently drinking tea with the Prime Minister. He had spent a great deal of effort to invite the Prime Minister over. Update P. The governor of the Oaths Division had prepared countless questions for the Prime Minister. He swore that he would dig out some valuable information from the Prime Minister today. He had been walking on thin ice for the past few days. It was simply too unbearable. Prime Minister, I say, you're just giving me a little hint, right? It's more or less meaningful. The governor of the Oaths Division smiled flatteringly and poured tea for the Prime Minister. It's not that I can't, but I really can't. The Prime Minister sipped his tea calmly. Sigh, Prime Minister, you. The governor of the Oaths Division was about to shamelessly persuade the Prime Minister when suddenly, his body shook and he sat there in a daze. Hey! The Prime Minister was stunned. What's wrong? The governor sat there in a daze. His face was deathly pale, and he didn't look much better than a dead person. This change came too suddenly, and there were no signs at all. However, the bigger change was yet to come. In the next moment, he suddenly started bleeding from his 7 orifices. With a wah sound, he spat out a large mouthful of blood, which turned into a bloody mist. With a gudong sound, he fell on his back and stopped breathing. The Prime Minister jumped in fright. What's going on? Could it be that this fellow didn't come here to threaten me with his death? If I don't tell him the truth, he'll commit suicide. This isn't forcing me. Fuck, I've never seen anything like this before. You're the governor of the Oaths Division and one of the top experts in the Eastern Royal Sky. How can you use such a despicable method? Is it worth it? What's the meaning of hurting yourself and others? For a moment, the Prime Minister was extremely conflicted. Therefore, after beating his chest and patting his back, he finally woke up the governor. Before he could say anything, he saw the governor looking at the Prime Minister in a daze. The governor said something that made the Prime Minister's heart skip a beat. Prime Minister, please quickly investigate whether the Saint Monarch and the Heavenly Devil Emperor have come to the Eastern Royal Heaven and made a vow for the duel in the Eastern Royal Heaven. This matter is very important and cannot be delayed. If it's delayed, I'm afraid it will ruin everything. When the Prime Minister heard this news, he only felt his head buzzing, and he almost felt the world spinning around him in an instant. He immediately dashed out of the Prime Minister. Not a single trace of the senility from before could be seen as he disappeared with a whoosh. If it was really those 2 people, half of the Eastern Royal Sky would be destroyed by them. And only those 2 people could put the governor in such a difficult position. The governor panted heavily, his face pale. It was clear that he still had some lingering fear. If not for His Majesty's royal aura protecting him, wouldn't he have, damn it, who came to the eastern royal sky to mess around? That scared this old man to death. Are they trying to kill this old man on purpose? Just the power of the Oaths division almost killed me. I'm a heavenly human. Even in the entire Heaven Imperial Court, I'm one of the top experts, after a long time. The Prime Minister came back with a gloomy face. The Governor-General asked impatiently, Prime Minister, which two almighties have come to our territory? Are there going to be a battle between realms? Hurry up and tell me, don't let this official make wild guesses. The Prime Minister's face was about to be flattened. He was unable to restrain his anger. Bullshit cross-border battle. Almighty your head. Nothing happened at all. You old bastard, you're trying to kill me. This Prime Minister is not done with you. How could he not be angry? Just now, when the Prime Minister saw how anxious the governor was, he naturally believed half of it. How could he dare to be negligent? He hurriedly went out to inquire about the whereabouts of the Lord Saint, the Sky Devil Emperor, and the other sovereigns. If it was really as the governor's judgment, it would be good to make preparations early. However, the answers he got were very uniform. The lords were in the palace. They didn't go out. Then, there were questions and vigilance from all sides. May I ask what's your intention for asking about the lord's whereabouts? What's my intention? What do you mean by asking about the lord's whereabouts? The Prime Minister was dumbfounded on the spot. Damn it, what's my intention? I was still tricked by that thing. Nothing happened. You really found out? The governor was stunned. Of course nothing happened. The Prime Minister was furious. What can happen? How can nothing happen? The governor was completely stunned. I was clearly injured by the power of the oath just now. Didn't you see it just now? The Prime Minister flicked his sleeves and left. I think you're clearly not injured enough. I can make you more injured. You old bastard, I've been nice to you all these years, but I've really spoiled you. You made up such a lie, and you scared me silly. The governor chased after him with a bitter face. Prime Minister, please listen to me. It's really. Before he could finish, the Prime Minister had disappeared without a trace. The governor sat on the threshold of the door, wanting to cry but having no tears. I'm so fucking innocent. Who is the one who made such a big commotion? Are they trying to play me to death? What the fuck is this? The next day, the Prime Minister issued an edict on behalf of His Majesty. The governor of the Division of Oaths neglected his duty. All officials of the Division of Oaths would be fined 1 year's salary. Moreover, their workload would be doubled from then on. A supervisory body would be set up to supervise the work of the Division of Oaths at all times. Any slight negligence would be severely punished. As soon as this edict was issued, the Division of Oaths was filled with wails and complaints. Obviously, a certain Prime Minister was abusing his position to avenge a personal grudge. The Division of Oaths would be plunged into darkness from now on. Chu Yang finally completed the contract. Immediately, he flew into a rage. Because when a spirit beast signed a contract, it was destined to reveal its true form. Chu Yang would never have thought that this 30 feet tall guy, who lazily called himself Brother Tiger, would actually be so unexpected. A small and exquisite spirit beast was floating in front of him. That's right, small and exquisite. Yes, it had straight ears. Sly eyes with distinct black and white. Its body was covered in colorful fur, and it had a noble and majestic purple aura. However, it was really a little fellow that was at least 100 times smaller than before. It was only the size of a palm. This time, it didn't look like a cat or a tiger. It completely looked like a cat and not a tiger. Your brother Tiger? Chu Yang looked at this little fellow and had the urge to faint on the spot. Yes, this is Brother Tiger's valiant and mighty image. Perfect, right? The little fellow combed its beard complacently. Chu Yang's vision went black and he staggered twice. I really thought you were that big. In the end, you're a little fellow that's not even half a kilogram. Okay. I admit it. Anyway, since I came to this territory, misfortune has never left me. Chu Yang said, come here, Brother Tiger. I'll carry you. You're so small. Don't pretend to be a big guy. What are you talking about? How can my mighty brother Tiger be carried away by someone else? This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy and contempt. Brother Tiger shook the colorful tiger fur on its body. I want the sky above my head, the earth beneath my feet, the universe with a smile, and the universe with disdain. The contract was completed. Brother Tiger landed on the ground again. In the blink of an eye, it returned to its original huge size. Chu Yang was speechless. The sword spirit was in a daze. Chu Yang and Brother Tiger began to walk out valiantly and spiritedly. Along the way, Brother Tiger walked with a majestic gait. Chu Yang followed beside it, his face a little red. Because the contract was signed. But who exactly was this man? Chu Yang didn't know at all. How much fighting power did he have? Chu Yang didn't know either. If he went to the Spirit Beast game market, could he win? Chu Yang still didn't know. He signed it in a daze. And he almost became the Spirit Beast's little brother. Thinking of this, Chu Yang was a little speechless and depressed. Oh heavens, oh earth. At this moment, order had been restored in the Spirit Beast Trading Center. It was all because of the appearance of the Purple Firmament Tower. As Chu Yang kept the Purple Firmament Tower, the spiritual energy naturally disappeared without a trace. Once the source of the disturbance was gone, the spirit beasts turned from restless to lonely. It was a little human-like and at a loss. With the management of the trading center, the chaos naturally calmed down. When the chaos subsided and order was restored, everyone returned to their normal line of thought. Almost everyone, whether it was the staff of the trading center or the guests who had yet to leave, all had their eyes focused on Chu Yang and Brother Tiger. They walked out valiantly and spiritedly. This scene indisputably caused another sensation in an instant. Damn. This. What's going on? Did I see wrongly? I'm really speechless. It's actually that trash spirit beast, no, wild beast, was sold today? Someone actually bought that wild beast. What did they buy it for? To kill it and eat its meat. Strange things happen every day. How can it be as strange as today? Ha 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 ha. I'm dying of laughter. Nothing is too strange in this world. Today, I saw another surprise. No, it should be a legend. It's indeed a legend. Someone actually spent money on this wild beast. There's simply no limit to prodigal, no limit to hedonistic, no limit to idiotic. It's really too awesome. To be able to spend money on this, besides being prodigal, hedonistic and idiotic, it's also a kind of courage. Courage, my ass. This is a waste of money. Stupid people have too much money, who can do anything about it? Wait, I seem to know that person. Oh right, isn't that Zhen Yotsai? Zhen Yotsai? The Zhen Yotsai who's been popular in the Spirit Beast Trading Center recently? The legendary, most famous Big Brother wealth disperser? Yes. What the hell, I was wondering who was so awesome. So it's Zhen Yotsai. That's right, other than him, who can be so talented? Discerning eyes, yes, it should be discerning eyes that recognize spirit beasts, recognize wild beast. Chapter 1755. Among the sounds of ridicule, there were of course different voices. Nonsense, what kind of eyesight does he have? He must have an all-seeing eye for spiritual beast. This time, there's no accident at all. I reckon that Zhen Yotsai is most likely going to use this super spiritual beast to win back his capital. A windfall from the sky, a windfall from the sky to a person. Those who don't take it are going against the will of the heavens. How can the heavens defy the will of the heavens? I'm going to prepare the money. Today, I have to do a good job. Yes, a heaven-sent opportunity. Ha 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 ha, let's go together. It had to be said that Chu Yang's incarnation of Zhen Yotsai had become a new celebrity in Xixia City during this period of time. As for the fact that the origin of such a wealthy man was unknown. In the Heaven Imperial Court, many warriors wandered around the Jianghu. There were many people with unknown origins. They disappeared after appearing for a while, so no one really cared about them. As the saying goes, even a strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. Besides, this Jin Yotsai was very rich. It wasn't strange that he was rich. The most important thing was that he was very good at losing. Such a foolish person had a lot of money. How could people not like him when he was so rich? Chu Yang walked out with Brother Hu. A certain person's face was full of black lines. He had to forcibly restrain himself so that no one could see it. This was truly a great sorrow. Fuck, am I really so famous now? Isn't it just losing money for 7 or 8 nights in a row? Why is it so well known? Are they all a bunch of paupers who haven't seen money in half their lives? Minister Chu curled his lips and walked out disdainfully with his head held high and chest out. Behind him, countless smart people began to make small calculations in their hearts. Should I also buy a spiritual beast to enter the spiritual beast gaming center? Should I go and fight with this foolish but rich Shinyotsai? That money is simply equivalent to the wind blowing. Immediately, someone put this idea into action. When one person moved, the others followed. In an instant, the spiritual beast trading center was extremely popular. Even many of the trash spiritual beasts that had been accumulated for a long time were sold out today. No matter how trashy the spiritual beast was, as long as it fought with Jin Yotsai's spiritual beast. It was also 100% certainty. After the event, the sales volume of today's spiritual beast trading center was dozens of times higher than usual. He really didn't know if today was a day of great disaster for the spirit beast trading center, a day of great fortune, or a day of great miracle. Chu Yang walked out of the trading area and was about to go back when he suddenly heard a sneer and a voice called out, "It's this small one. Stop him for this young master." Whoosh. Suddenly, a group of people surrounded him. Chu Yang was stunned. Who did I offend this time? That can't be. When I first came here, I didn't know more than 10 people. When I was in the men's hall, there was no business. Either that, or they were trying to save someone. I could only lose in the casino. Today was the first time I came out to spend money. Why did they come looking for me again? Could it be that this heavenly song is really my nemesis? Everything was going wrong. The crowd parted, and a few boys and girls walked out. Their faces were full of arrogance as they looked at Chu Yang. One of them said with a complacent smile, "Little one, don't worry. You didn't expect this, did you? Mountains and rivers will meet again. We have met again. Weren't you quite arrogant before? Are you good at shouting? Why don't you try shouting again?" Chu Yang instantly understood. It turned out to be the boys and girls who were choosing spirit beasts inside just now. When Chu Yang shouted with his cultivation just now, the 5 of them were scared out of their wits and ran away. They came back to find trouble. This time, Jin Yotsai is in trouble. No matter how much money he has, he can't fight with forces like the Jin clan, Wu clan, and Li clan of Zixia City. He actually provoked the most foppish people in one go, and even added a girl. These 3 guys are not to be trifled with. Look at this time. Jin Yotsai is going to lose a lot of money. The onlookers whispered. Chu Yang didn't reveal anything, and he listened carefully. For a moment, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just to shout at you, is there a need to make such a big fuss and come looking for trouble? Chu Yang snorted and said, "What? Old Raw, you guys think highly of you, and you're not happy. Do you want to lose a lot of money to me before you give up?" This sentence was obviously taken out of context by Chu Yang. He changed the concept of the troublemakers and twisted the direction. Foppish people weren't scary, but foppish people were. And these people in front of him could be seen through at a glance. They were definitely the kind who couldn't take this kind of anger. They had no self-restraint and were impatient. Chu Yang was absolutely sure that he could play them in the palm of his hand with a few words. As for killing them, Chu Yang was still reluctant. Because these people in front of him were all sources of wealth, rolling in wealth. Jin Shengxin smiled cruelly. "Lose money to you? What are you dreaming about? See if I don't tear you apart alive." Behind him, a martial artist reminded him in a low voice, "Fifth Duke, this person is the money spreader, Jin Yotsai. He has lost a lot of money in this period of time, no less than 10 million. But his expression didn't change at all. Many people have guessed that he is very likely to be the young duke of some big corporation. Now, many people are aiming to bet with him on spirit beasts. Being able to bet with him is equivalent to a windfall from the sky. Oh? It's him. Jin Shengxin's eyes suddenly lit up. Although he himself was a foppish person, he couldn't not know the name of a super foppish person like Zhen Youcai. That was a guy who was far more prodigal than himself, so Jin Shengxin changed his mind instantly. No one would dislike a windfall that fell from the sky. Then, he whispered a few words to the few people around him. He saw the other two nodding excitedly. Their faces showed a wretched smile of blessing from the heavens. Obviously, they agreed with Jin Shengxin's decision. Although they were from aristocratic families and were used to being domineering, they didn't have much pocket money in their hands. Perhaps it was a huge number for ordinary people, but for them, it was often a little hard to make ends meet. At this moment, they were lucky enough to meet a super rich person like Zhen Youcai who was also super prodigal. It was like a pie falling from the sky. After all, it was very difficult to meet a fool with a lot of money, so the attitude of Jin Shengxin and the others immediately changed 180 degrees. Wasn't it just being yelled at? How big of a deal was it? This time, they were just here to look for some face. If they could get millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions just because of this yelling, then, why not? So Duke Jin's tone changed immediately. Lose money to you? You're daydreaming, ha ha ha. It's daytime now, it's really a good time to daydream. When night comes, you won't have any daydreams to daydream. The chances of you losing to me are probably higher. Great, he immediately acted according to Chu Yang's script. Do you think Chu Yang's luck is good? Or good? Or good? Chu Yang was happy in his heart. He laughed arrogantly, showing his super prodigal character. I will lose to you. I'm daydreaming. If it was before, there would be some possibility. But now, I already have my own spirit beast. A super invincible spirit beast. Then, he patted Brother Tiger's head insolently and said loudly, with this new partner of mine. From now on, I will only win money and not lose. Invincible Tiger. Big Brother Tiger grunted contentedly, indicating that he liked to hear those words. What a good invincible tiger. Just based on these words, this big brother had a lot of foresight and knowledge. In an instant. The people on the opposite side also saw Chu Yang's spirit beast clearly. Instantly, they roared with laughter. Speaking of Brother Tiger, as long as one was a regular customer of the Spirit Beast Trading Center, almost all of them knew about him. Of course, who didn't know that this was a harmless guy? It seemed that this guy had been sitting in the Spirit Beast Trading Center for a long time and no one cared about him. It seemed that he wasn't even a spirit beast. Actually, they wanted to rely on him to win money. There was also Invincible Tiger. It seemed that this guy was only a little stronger than a cat, and that was because of his size. If one only looked at his laziness, he might not even be able to beat a cat. Since Duke Zhen wants to fight, then I will. As you wish, I'll bet with you. Jin Shengxin laughed. Tonight, in the Spirit Beast Trading Center, I'll let your spirit beast compete. As long as you win, whatever you yelled at me will be written off. Chu Yang said disdainfully, bah. How can there be such an easy thing? Old Raw, I think highly of you, but you still have the nerve to bet. You really haven't seen the world, gambling with real swords and spears. Have you ever been a gambler? If I lose, I'll give you money. Isn't it just money? I have it. Jin Shengxin roared. Then how much is the bet? Chu Yang snorted. If it's too little, I won't be interested. Then how much do you want to bet? Jin Shengxin was even more excited. Say it, I'm not afraid of the bet being big, I'm only afraid that you won't bet. The more the better, the bigger the bet, the better. I'm going to be rich this time, I got Brother Tiger today. Invincible Tiger, victory is in my hands. At least 100. Chu Yang smiled. Purple cloud coins. Okay. Jin Shengxin was suddenly speechless. 100 purple cloud coins? It didn't seem like much, but when converted, it was a whole 10 billion water cloud coins. Just for a bet. This was a bit too much. Although Jin Shengxin was the 5th master of the Jin clan, He really couldn't take out such a large sum of money by himself. You don't dare to bet? Chu Yang laughed. In that case, I won't keep you company. Think about it, you can find me at the Spirit Beast game field tonight. Laughing, Chu Yang took Brother Tiger, one man and one beast separated the crowd and left with majestic steps. Suddenly, a seemingly weak but very clear voice came. Bah, I thought some aristocratic master was so arrogant that he couldn't even take out such a small amount of money, wasting so much time. Forget it, not everyone can be like you. Let's go, Brother Tiger, let's go recharge and face the countless battles in the future in our best condition. Everyone looked at Brother Tiger behind Chu Yang, their eyes spitting fire. With this trashy spirit beast, any other spirit beast would have been able to win. But the problem was, they didn't have so much money to bet. This bastard Jin Yotsai, why did he learn to be smart today? Chapter 1756. Fuck, it's a windfall, but you're a money rake. The crowd was depressed. Fifth brother Jin, if you can make the decision, we can pool the money together. Wu Jiagong, Wu Xiushan, hurried over. That's right, the three of us can pool the money together. Li Mingyu waved his fists. Even if I say shit, I can't be looked down upon by others. Especially by a nouveau riche. Page. Novel chapters are the fastest to update. Jin Shengshin's face was gloomy as he said angrily, no need, no need. I thank everyone for your help, but I alone am enough to deal with him. I don't want everyone to take the risk. How dare he look down on me? He's courting death. If I don't make him bankrupt this time, he won't be able to survive in Xixia City anymore. With that, he left in a huff, seemingly in a huff. The remaining two people snorted at the same time. Acting cool? If you want to keep it all to yourself, then keep it to yourself. Why do you have to pretend to be so righteous? You're actually worried about us taking the risk. How can you be so kind-hearted? Who doesn't want to help you? You think we really want to help you? We just want a share of the profits. As long as it's a person, even an idiot would think that he would win this time. How could Jin Shengshin agree to let others pool the money together? I guess Jin Shengshin went home to get the money. What should we do? Li Mingyu was clearly very unwilling to let the 30 purple coins that were almost in her hands slip away just like that. This amount was really not small. 3 years of pocket money was not even that much. There's no other way. Wu Xiushan sighed. The only hope is that Jin Shengshin loses, then the two of us can take action. If he wins this battle, even if we continue to gamble with him, we can only win a small amount of money. You still expect that beast to win? How can he win? Me too, don't you think there's a chance? Damn you, Jin Shengshin. You're a selfish man. The two of them cursed loudly. Seeing that such a great opportunity to make money was about to slip through their fingers, the resentment in their stomachs was about to explode to the sky. Along the way, Chu Yang's bad luck seems to have disappeared. He had just accepted Brother Tiger as his disciple, and Brother Tiger's disciple, Brother Tiger's disciple, Brother Tiger's disciple. Then, someone rushed over to deliver the money. If this wasn't good luck, then what was? Wasn't this what the heavens wanted? Brother Hu, you're my lucky one. May I ask, where did you come from? Why are you lingering here? Chu Yang asked. About that, I actually sensed a very familiar aura about 20 days ago. That's why I traveled 21,500 kilometers to get here. In the end, I came here and spent an entire day looking for you. I didn't expect to meet you. Tiger said casually. However, there was a hint of melancholy in his voice. Chu Yang was startled. 203,000 li? A whole day of SHJA with Macron N? Brother Hu? Even in the Double Heavens continent, even with Chu Yang's current cultivation, it would take him less than a day. Even if he rushed with all his might, he would not be able to complete 10,000 li, let alone in the Double Heavens Imperial Court. Moreover, it was 21,500 li. Yet, Brother Hu only used 1 day to walk 21,500 li in the Double Heavens Imperial Court. And he even strolled over. How many planes of restriction did he pass through? How many plates did he pass through? With Brother Who's speed, he would have chosen to pass through in a straight line. But passing through in a straight line. 21,500 li. What a huge number. An entire day. How could it be so fucking long? Chu Yang felt a little dizzy from the dizziness. What? Did you sense the aura? Chu Yang asked. Isn't it the aura of your sword? Tiger said melancholy. At first, I thought it was. Halfway through its sentence, it suddenly stopped. He wanted to say something but stopped. He let out a long, sad sigh. The aura of this sword? Chu Yang was a little puzzled. Does this sword have an aura unique to it? The Calamity Sword was a magical item. Chu Yang was already aware of this. However, he did not understand. Or rather, he did not understand. Did this sword still carry some kind of unique aura? Don't doubt it, don't doubt it. It's an aura unique to the world. Brother Whose voice became solemn, respectful, and admiring. This kind of aura, in the entire Heaven Imperial Court, in the entire universe, he is definitely the second person in the world who has this kind of aura. Oh, who is that person? Chu Yang was shocked. He thought of the person who gave the black-yellow divine fruit to Zhon Zhon. This person is my benefactor. Tears dripped from Tiger's eyes. He was extremely sad. It's a pity that my abilities are too weak. I know that I'm not worthy to be by his side. If my abilities were 30, 50, 70, 80 times stronger, perhaps, cough, cough, cough. Chu Yang coughed. You know that you're not worthy to be by his side, so you reluctantly follow me. Chu Yang was like a piece of trash to him. If it wasn't for this sword, if it wasn't for that person's aura, do you think I'd choose to follow you? Not to mention acknowledging you as my big brother. Go and be happy. Tiger rolled his eyes in disdain. I'll endure. I'll endure. I'll endure. Chu Yang swallowed his saliva and interrupted Brother Tiger. I say, that person also called you Brother Tiger? Tiger immediately became embarrassed and said, how am I worthy? Speaking of which, he was the one who gave me my name. From then on, other than him, no one else is allowed to call me by my name. Chu Yang was very interested. He gave you a name? His name? Little Z. Tiger said proudly. Little Z. Chu Yang shuddered and suddenly thought of Z Xieching, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Suddenly, a strange feeling rose in his heart. He hurriedly said, stop, your name has a history. Then I'll call you Tiger. Little Z. I really can't call you that. If I really do, I'm afraid I'll be torn to pieces. Tiger said disdainfully, I also didn't intend to let you call me that. Do you think you're worthy? At least you know your place. Remember to call me Big Brother Who. Big Brother Who will protect you. Chu Yang was so angry that his stomach was full of shit. I say, then are you a spirit beast of Shma level? Chu Yang asked hopefully. Such a spirit beast. A powerful existence that could easily traverse 213,000 miles in a day. Was it heaven level? Or saint level? According to Chu Yang's guess, it was definitely saint level. But Tiger's answer made Chu Yang break down. I'm not a spirit beast. Do I look like a spirit beast to you? Your Shma eyes. Not only is your cultivation trashy, even your eyesight is bad. Tiger grinned. Not a spirit beast. Chu Yang staggered. The sword spirit who was in the space of tribulation added, I told you you're not a spirit beast. My eyesight can't be wrong. I'm a Shen beast. Tiger said proudly, spirit beasts are nothing in my eyes. Shen beast. Shen beast is a Shma level existence. Shma level. Shma level. Chu Yang was completely dizzy. How did another Shen beast appear out of the blue? Shen beast is a very powerful existence. Extremely powerful. Tiger said proudly, as far as I know, I'm the only Shen beast on this Shma level. Only I'm a Shen beast. Ah. Chu Yang was speechless. Sigh, the space I was in at the beginning. One day, urine shattered. Using the energy my benefactor gave me, I wrapped myself in it and was lucky enough to escape. I drifted in the space turbulence for who knows how many years before I finally arrived here. Brother Who said in a sorrowful voice, my once heaven-defying cultivation is now almost completely destroyed. Ah! Black lines appeared on Chu Yang's forehead. What did he mean by that? Almost completely destroyed, didn't that mean, if I can find my benefactor, I will definitely be able to recover quickly. But if I can't? Sigh, with just you. Brother Tiger looked at Chu Yang and said, I really don't know how long it will take for me to recover my strength. You're seriously injured. Chu Yang was completely stunned. Nonsense, if I wasn't injured, would you have signed a contract with me? With your cultivation, humph. Tiger growled in a low voice. Then, Chu Yang said speechlessly, I'll take the liberty to ask, can you beat other spirit beasts? For example, the ones in the trading center? If I can't beat them, I'm really going to lose everything. Are you insulting me? Looking down on me? That's a blatant suspicion. You're so ignorant. How can you judge the great Brother Tiger's strength? Brother Tiger was enraged just based on their strength. I can defeat them with a fart. Then can you beat Earth-grade spirit beasts? Chu Yang asked fearlessly. You're insulting me. Tiger continued to rage, just Earth-grade spirit beasts. Then, can you beat Heaven-grade spirit beasts? Get lost. I'm going to die from anger, just Heaven-grade spirit beasts. Tiger was so angry that he was foaming at the mouth. Then can you beat Saint-grade spirit beasts? Chu Yang was even more excited. Nonsense. Of course I can. Tiger was full of confidence. Then I'm relieved. Chu Yang could finally let out a long sigh of relief. No matter what. As long as he could earn money, I'm talking about my peak strength. Tiger suddenly felt a little embarrassed. When I was at my peak, the so-called Saint-grade spirit beasts here, I could send them flying with a slap. Chu Yang immediately sensed something amiss. What about now? Now. Tiger hung his head dejectedly. Now they can send me flying with a slap. Fuck. Chu Yang cursed angrily. But at least there was some comfort. He could beat Heaven-grade spirit beasts. Yes, YJNG was not bad. Along the way, Chu Yang asked Tiger cautiously, Brother Tiger, are you willing to fight with them? Tiger was startled. He stopped and turned his head to look at Chu Yang. There was a re-evaluation in his eyes. From this sentence, it was very obvious that it heard a kind of respect. He respected ZJ's choice. Chapter 1757. If I say no, what will you do? Brother Tiger asked solemnly. Baidu Search School Library PM, then I will think of another way. Chu Yang smiled calmly and said, money does not have to come from here. Why? Brother Tiger asked strangely. He did not realize that in these words, there was a strange emotion that he had not felt for a long time. He lowered his head, not letting Chu Yang see the hope in his eyes. But only he knew in his heart that he was waiting for an answer. What do you mean by why? Chu Yang said strangely, because you are different from those spirit beasts in the spirit beast arena. You are now my partner. We have just signed a partnership contract, don't you know? Ah. Brother Tiger did not speak. Since we are partners, of course I have to respect your choice. Chu Yang said, if you do not agree to fight with these low-level spirit beasts, then what is the point of me forcing you? Partners are not subordinates, nor are they slaves. They are not things that I can order around. We have to discuss everything. You are very clear on this point. Why are you still asking why? Brother Tiger lowered his head, and his throat made some noises. After a long time, he said in a low voice that was almost inaudible, actually, I also want to go to the beast arena for a while, to fight a few rounds. Haha, it is just for some memories in my heart. He said these words very softly and vaguely. Chu Yang did not hear him clearly. He asked, what did you say? Brother Tiger suddenly raised his head and laughed. Of course I want to go. Ha ha ha. Playing the pig to eat the tiger, I love it the most. Every time I see those fellows who think they can eat me suddenly feel that they have hit the nail on the head, and their eyes reveal a look of disbelief before they die, my heart is as sweet as eating honey. Ha ha ha. A burst of wild laughter. Chu Yang's face was full of black lines. This guy. He is actually as sinister as me. That's good. Let's play the pig to eat the tiger together. Roar. Meow. One man and one beast continued to walk. Chu Yang thought in his heart, Brother Tiger seems to have something on his mind, or is he feeling something? I feel that he is not very happy. Why? I have to think of a way to make it happy. Brother Tiger thought in his heart, this Chu Yang is really not bad. Just because of this respect, my intentions are not in vain. Hey, benefactor, where are you? She really missed that short reunion. Chu Yang circled around and came to a secluded place. Then, he quietly changed his appearance. Then, he completely ignored Tiger's objections and forced it to return to its original size, the size of a palm, and put it in his arms. He hurried back to the men's hall. At this moment, Fishy was completely flustered. Teacher Cat was extremely depressed. He had been meditating in his room with a heavy heart, but he couldn't calm his heart down. He walked around the courtyard uneasily. He hadn't even walked around twice when a person suddenly fell from the sky. Very accurately and heavily, it landed on the cat teacher's head. What the hell? Meow meow, it hurts so much. Who the hell is attacking me? You're pissing me off, meow. She actually didn't notice it in advance. Moreover, a big bruise appeared on the cat's head after being hit by that person. This time, it actually looked like a unicorn. I'm going to fight it out with you, meow. Teacher Cat was knocked unconscious for a long time before he got up. Just as he was about to get angry, he found that the person who fell from the sky didn't need to fight anymore. At this moment, he was already bleeding from all 7 orifices and unconscious. His face was as pale as paper. He was on the verge of death. His life was in danger. He was about to die. This instantly extinguished the fishy anger that soared to the sky. He tried to kick him twice, but there was no reaction at all. With his experience and eyesight, he could see that this person was really injured and dying. Moreover, it was very likely that he would be completely finished soon. This is the biggest joke in the world, the Tang dynasty of the world. Meow. Teacher Cat cursed. There is actually such a suicidal attack from the sky. Cursing was just cursing. Teacher Marrow still held his nose and carried the guy who fell from the sky into the room. This was Teacher Cat. If it was anyone else, even if they didn't immediately stab this guy, they would at least throw him far away. After all, a dead person meant trouble, and a seriously injured person was even more troublesome. However, Teacher Cat still had the style of an ancient person. To help those in distress, he drew his sword to help. First, he tried to straighten the guy's bones. Teacher Cat found that something was wrong. This guy almost broke his own bones, but he didn't seem to be hurt at all. His bones didn't even seem to be slightly dislocated. What a tough guy, Teacher Cat sighed. Teacher Cat had the spirit of saving the dying and helping the injured. He transferred his own cultivation to this guy to help him heal. However, he found that this person's meridians were like a bottomless pit. After he transferred his cultivation, there was no reaction at all. According to Teacher Cat's judgment, based on the current situation, even if he drained himself dry and died of exhaustion, this person might not wake up. Damn it! What kind of person is this? Teacher Cat stopped and didn't dare to act rashly. In desperation, he could only feed this guy a healing pill. However, Teacher Cat knew that this pill was completely inadequate. In the current situation, he could only hope that Chu Yang would return and this guy would still be alive. If this guy couldn't hold on, Teacher Cat was afraid that he wouldn't even have the strength to help him wait. Fortunately, even though this fellow was seriously injured and looked like he could not catch his breath and could die at any time, his vitality was abnormally strong. Although the last bit of fire in his heart was faint, it would not be extinguished. It was like a candle in the wind, swaying and swaying. It was clearly dim, but it would not be extinguished. His will to live is really amazing. Teacher Cat sighed in admiration. Every now and then, Teacher Cat would run out to take a look. After a while, he would run out again. Finally, Chu Yang returned. You're back. Teacher Cat anxiously waited. What's wrong? Chu Yang was puzzled. What else can I do with you? Save someone. Teacher Cat pulled Chu Yang away. Save someone? Chu Yang stopped before he could finish his sentence. That was because he had already seen the person he needed to save. What's the matter with this guy? I don't know what happened exactly. I was strolling in the courtyard, and then, with a bang, this person fell on my head. I fell down with a bang. When I got up, I found that this guy was seriously injured. Teacher Cat pointed. Stop. Chuyang decisively raised his hand. He interrupted Teacher Cat's narration. This was because Chuyang realized that Teacher Cat was definitely not a talented storyteller. In his narration, there was definitely enough suspense. However, the problem was, the person listening to the story didn't seem to understand anything. This was because there was no process at all. There was no sequence of events. Staring at Teacher Cat for a while, Chuyang sighed helplessly. Please, shut up for a while. I have to save someone first. Meow. Teacher Cat silently endured. He only let out a low and soft growl to express his faint dissatisfaction. Chuyang immediately went into a busy treatment. However, Teacher Cat's last sentence caused a huge uproar. Chuyang was holding a small cat in his hand. The cat, which was only the size of a fist, scurried into the cat teacher's arms and looked up with widened eyes. Looking at Teacher Cat, it said with an expression of meeting an old friend in a foreign land, meow? Teacher Cat almost jumped up. He looked at the little guy in his arms in horror. His lips trembled as he said, meow? You know how to meow too? Brother Tiger used one of its front paws to pull at his beard. Then it reached out to grab Teacher Cat's beard and pulled, meow? Teacher Cat angrily hit Brother Tiger's paw away and roared, meow. Brother Tiger lowered its head as if it had been frightened by a certain cat. Teacher Cat stroked his beard proudly. Brother Tiger's voice sounded in Chuyang's mind, you big cat in human form, you're an idiot. Chuyang was startled by these words. A burst of unbearable laughter arose. His hand paused and his whole body trembled. An incomplete version of the heavy pill was cut in half and the two pieces fell into the mouth of the guy on the bed. Ah! Minister Chu went crazy. My medicine. My peerless elixir. You two wastrels who can't do anything right. Teacher Cat and Brother Tiger turned their heads at the same time and asked, meow? Even if it wasn't because of the idiotic conversation between the two cats, Chuyang was still angry. Where in the world did a certain cat master get this special patient from? It seemed to have fallen from the sky. There were people who dropped pies and discus from the sky. There were also people who fell into traps, and so on, and even beautiful women. However, he had never heard of anyone who was seriously injured. Moreover, the person in front of him was seriously injured. If it was just a serious injury, Chuyang would have accepted it. He could have taken him down with some effort and wasted some elixirs. However, this person was too strange. Take note, it wasn't the injury that was strange, but the person that was strange. His internal organs were not damaged, his divine sense was not damaged, and his meridians were unusually wide and unobstructed. Even a heaven-level expert like a certain cat wouldn't have such a good physique. However, his vitality was not enough and he was about to die. He could die at any time. This was the first time Chuyang had seen such a strange injury. Chuyang judged that even the incomplete version of the heavy pill might not be effective. Therefore, he decided to only use half a pill to try. It would be good if he could be saved, but even if he couldn't, he would have done his best. It would be enough to answer to a certain cat. In the end, he was amused by the cat and the beast's words and his hand trembled. The incomplete version of the heavy pill melted in his mouth and instantly turned into surging vitality. Chuyang sighed. It was destined to be wasted. Then he turned to ask Shifty Cat, Teacher Cat, who is this person? Your friend. Shifty Cat was tongue-tied. What friend? How would I know who he is? Chapter 1758. Chuyang almost vomited blood. What? You mean you don't know who this person is? You don't even know him and you want me to save him? Do you know? Teacher Cat looked at Chuyang with bright eyes. Saving the dying and healing the injured is the heart of a doctor. You're a doctor, don't you know this? I always thought you knew. That day, get lost. Minister Chu had heard the phrase "a doctor has the heart of a parent" when he had been in the heavenly layer continent for 3 days. So, he didn't hesitate to curse. Baidu search school library POM, Teacher Cat turned his head to look at Brother Tiger resentfully. Brother Tiger glared and scolded, "Meow." At this moment, a weak voice suddenly sounded, "Where is this place?" Chu Yang and Greasy Cat were stunned. They turned their heads and saw the person lying on the bed on the verge of death open his eyes. He tilted his head and looked at them. Actually, they shouldn't be surprised. Even if it was an incomplete version of the heavy pill, it was still a rare elixir. It had the miraculous effect of reviving life and death. That day, Teacher Cat was seriously injured and on the verge of death. He also relied on this elixir. The moment he took it, his almost fatal internal and external injuries were instantly healed by 70%. This person also took one. It would be strange if it didn't have any effect. But why was he still so weak? Could it be that this person's strength was above Teacher Cat's and that an incomplete version of the heavy pill wasn't enough to heal him completely? But as long as the time was short, he shouldn't be so weak. Besides, Chu Yang clearly noticed that when he turned his head, deep in this person's eyes, there was a look of relief. He couldn't help but be startled. Does this guy know me? Is that possible? Impossible. This person seemed to be a young man. He was dressed in a black robe. He couldn't tell what material it was made of, but it faintly revealed a sense of mystery. Even though he was seriously injured, he still had a kind of arrogant and awe-inspiring aura. Although his appearance was ordinary, his face was sharp and angular. The moment he opened his eyes, he looked at Yi Zichen. The moment he opened his eyes, his originally zombie-like body seemed to be filled with the brilliance of life. His voice was weak and badly out of breath, but he was in such a situation. But in such a situation, he still used the most coherent and calm tone to speak. It wasn't just to show off, but to protect his own dignity. This was a self-respecting, self-confident, self-reliant and conceited person. Chu Yang and Fishy Guy had the same feeling at the same time. This person is probably not simple. Try not to be enemies. This is my pharmacy, men's hall. Chu Yang looked into the young man's eyes and said, "The temple that brings good news to all men, it specializes in curing my illness." Recently, Chu Yang had been thinking about money like crazy. This time, he didn't forget to advertise himself. But who would advertise like that? "What you said is indeed very infuriating. Do I have a disease?" "Ha ha." The young man smiled weakly and said, "I also have a disease." "Ha ha. Not bad." Fishy laughed in praise. This sentence cleverly made the phrase "I'm sick" completely derogatory, and it was basically something that men could not say. It became grand and majestic, seamlessly connected from top to bottom. "I also have an illness." Not only did he raise his status, but he also explained his illness. "Yes. Understood. I know you have a disease." Chu Yang grinned and said, "As long as I'm here, and you're awake, you definitely won't die. You can rest assured." The young man smiled bitterly and said, "May I ask, doctor, this injury of mine, when can I recover?" Chu Yang frowned and said, "Your Excellence's injury is very strange. I'm still somewhat unsure. But, you should know what kind of injury you've sustained. Therefore, all I can do is to do my best and leave the rest to fate. As for when you'll recover, that's up to you. Do you understand what I'm saying?" These words were confusing, incoherent, self-contradictory and standard words that deserved a beating. Teacher Cat, who was listening at the side, was embarrassed. Unexpectedly, the young man nodded with satisfaction and said, "Not bad, not bad. As expected, you have the demeanor of a highly skilled doctor. I understand. Since you understand, then I'll be a good person to the end." As Chu Yang busied himself, he took out a box made of purple crystal jade essence. Inside, there was a purple needle. This was a needle made by Chu Yang using souls of purple crystal. It was called the Soul Needle. This needle was very effective. It had the shocking effect of stabilizing the spirit, refining life, increasing vitality, and consolidating one's foundation. And this was the effect of the Soul Needle itself. It didn't take medical skills into account. The young man's eyes lit up. He said weakly, "It's actually the purple crystal soul needle. I didn't expect you to have such a good thing. Looks like I'm really saved this time." Chu Yang's eyes lit up. "You also know about the purple crystal soul needle?" The young man said weakly, "These amethyst soul needles are meticulously refined from souls of the amethyst. Every palm-sized piece of soul of the amethyst can only be refined into a single soul needle at most. The price is incomparably expensive. It's also blasphemous to say that it's priceless. It's really a priceless treasure. In the entire Heaven Imperial Court, there are no more than 10 sets of such divine needles. Most of them are in the hands of legendary divine doctors. I didn't expect you to have a complete set. I'm the lucky one." Chu Yang chuckled. He didn't hesitate. With a flash of purple light, a soul needle had already pierced into the young man's chest. With a light flick, only 1/3 of the soul needle was exposed, and a cloud of purple gas swayed out. For a moment, even the needle couldn't be seen clearly. Greasy exclaimed, "This needle. Wouldn't it go all the way into his internal organs? Wasn't he afraid of dying with one needle?" A relieved smile appeared on the young man's face. He said, "One needle to determine life and death, yin and yang turning into two extremes. You have good acupuncture skills and great medical attainments." After the needle was inserted, there was a hint of vitality in his voice. Chu Yang pierced another needle into the young man's temple. Similarly, only the tip of the needle was left outside. With a light flick, purple light lingered. "Wonderful." The young man's brows didn't move. He praised, "A needle through the canopy, straight to the center of gravity. Is the doctor using the legendary Heaven Saint needle technique?" Chu Yang's eyes narrowed. He said, "Good knowledge and good endurance." Knowledge could be said. As for endurance, Chu Yang himself knew that this needle was the culmination of all the pain in the world. Using a kind of extreme pain to stimulate a person's vitality to quickly return. Then, this stimulated vitality gradually spread throughout the body to achieve the effect of further stimulating the human body's life potential. It looked like a light and delicate needle. But the pain caused by this needle was as terrifying as going through the 18 levels of hell. At this moment, the young man was already seriously injured and on the verge of death. Yet, he was still suffering such inhumane pain. He didn't even frown. His mental endurance was amazing. Endurance. Ha. Soybean-sized beads of sweat seeped out of the young man's forehead, but his expression was calm. "I also want to cry out in pain. It's a little better, but I really can't afford to lose face." This sentence is well said. Chu Yang pierced the third needle. The position was actually in the dantian. He said casually, "May I know your name?" The young man exhaled. He said, "How can I not answer a doctor's inquiry? My surname is Yang, Yang Russian. A word is as heavy as a mountain. That's my name." After saying his name, he stared at Chu Yang and Shifty Guy with a somewhat sharp gaze. Chu Yang's face was indifferent. It was really indifferent. A certain king of hell only knew a limited number of people in this world. Unless you said you were Xue Leihan, it was really hard to find a name that could move him. Of course, this time, Chu Yang was actually secretly paying attention to Fish's movements. Fishy shook his fat neck, his face full of self-satisfaction. If this fellow had heard this name, he would definitely jump up and shout, "So you are Yang Russian." Since he didn't move, it meant that he didn't have any impression of him. In other words, he didn't know this person at all. Chu Yang sighed. Looks like this particular cat isn't just an ordinary ignorant cat. Looking at Yang Russian, that name should be quite famous. But Fishy didn't react at all, as if he had heard a pile of dung. Yang Russian felt a little tragic. The muscles on his face finally twitched a little. It wasn't because of pain, but because he felt a little incredulous. How ignorant are these two fellows? To think that they don't know the title of the #1 general of the Eastern Royal Heavenly Oath Division. In the Eastern Royal Heavens, such a person would be considered a miracle if there was even one in 10,000 people. He didn't expect to meet two of them today. Could it be the day of 10,000? "You have never heard of my name?" Yang Rushan couldn't accept it and asked subconsciously. To be honest, he used to hope that these two people didn't know who he was. But now that his wish had come true, he really hoped that they didn't know who he was. No matter how high the level of existence was, there would always be vanity. I really haven't heard of you. Chu Yang shook his head. Do you think you are Xue Leihan? In the eastern royal heavens, I only know of him. Yang Rushan's face instantly darkened. Damn it. Comparing that person to me, how can that be compared? In the eastern royal heavens, if you don't even know who Xue Leihan is, you can just die. Besides, how can the name of the eastern royal emperor be mentioned so often? This doctor was really too daring and frivolous. Indeed, I haven't heard of you before. He asked curiously, are you very famous? Maybe I'm just ignorant. Yang Rushan closed his eyes and didn't speak anymore. If he spoke again, he was afraid that he would vomit blood and die the moment he opened his mouth. Can you give me a bigger blow? Energy, wood, energy. Am I very famous? What nonsense are you talking about? You're just ignorant and ill-informed. Chu Yang laughed and continued to insert the needles. After the needles were completely inserted, the young man could clearly feel that his body was faintly gathering essence energy. This unexpected change made him almost wild with joy. Scapulohumeral periarthritis acted up. At night, I went for an extra unplanned acupuncture session. A brother recommended warm silver needles, but I asked and it seems that our Lai Wu doesn't have it. Chapter 1759. Yang Rushan was still rejoicing when he heard Chu Yang say, Brother Yang, I can guarantee that your life will not be in danger after this injection. You will also have a chance to recover your cultivation. I will concoct some medicine for you later. It should be useful after you drink it. Thank you, thank you. Yang Rushan thanked him sincerely. It doesn't matter if you don't know my name. The most important thing is that you can cure me. If you don't have the ability to cure me with just my name, wouldn't that be more tragic? Don't be in such a hurry to thank me. Chu Yang raised his hand to interrupt him. I believe that Brother Yang is definitely an extraordinary person. At the very least, the flexibility and broadness of the meridians in Brother Yang's body, as well as the tyrannical and domineering heart protection elemental energy in your heart meridians, have already indicated Brother Yang's status. I have no intention of finding out about Brother Yang's background and I have no intention of receiving any repayment from Brother Yang. However, I still have a request. Yang Rushan said seriously, tell me, as long as it's within my capabilities. It's definitely within Brother Yang's capabilities. I hope that Brother Yang can leave this place quietly after your body recovers. That's all. Chu Yang smiled gently. Brother Yang is a wise man. I'm still weak and it's not appropriate for me to be embroiled in the grudges of Brother Yang. Please forgive me. Yang Rushan nodded in understanding. He couldn't hide the admiration in his eyes. Chu Yang's cautiousness and foresight could be seen from his words. With Yang Rushan's cultivation and being from the pugilistic world, how could he have any enemies? How could the current Chu Yang afford to provoke someone who was qualified to be an enemy of Yang Rushan's level? Even if it was just a little, he would be smashed into pieces. Yang Rushan was naturally the first general of the Oaths division who was brought down from the heavens by Chu Yang's oath. He was quite a tragic character. Chu Yang didn't know that Yang Rushan's injury was caused by the joint efforts of Brother Hu and ZJ. Yang Rushan also didn't know that the main culprit who caused Yang Rushan's injury was the divine doctor who was receiving Yang Rushan's gratitude. Yang Rushan had his own matters to deal with. Although he was from the Oaths division, Yang Rushan had many enemies. News of Yang Rushan's injury hadn't spread yet. It could guarantee a temporary safety. However, as long as this news spread out, it would easily cause a great storm. Perhaps, this entire Xixia city would be completely destroyed. Not to mention Chu Yang, who had once treated ZJ. I promise you. Yang Rushan uttered these words with a pause between each and every one of his words. The number one general of the Oaths department knew the value of oaths more than anyone else. These 4 words. It was a promise to keep this secret for Chu Yang. At the same time, it also meant that even in front of Emperor Donghuang, Chu Yang's secret would not be revealed. Although Chu Yang had requested it, Yang Rushan felt that keeping the secret meant letting the secret die in his heart forever. No matter who he faced, there was no exception. Chu Yang checked Yang Rushan's body. Yang Rushan's vitality was still too weak. This was actually how it should be. It wasn't that the heavy pill or the heavenly sage acupuncture technique wasn't effective. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be able to save his life. It was just that the amount of healing was insufficient. This was the difference between quality and quantity. The heavy pill and the heavenly sage acupuncture technique were of a high level, but the amount of healing was relatively insufficient. Yang Rushan's cultivation was shocking. He was able to survive such a serious injury because his cultivation was too high. This caused the amount of vitality needed to recover to be ridiculously high. As a result, Chu Yang could only use 2 treasures to recover slightly. And this result. As a result, Yang Rushan's life force was insufficient to support his natural recovery. If this carried on, his life force would be depleted. With this appraisal, Chu Yang pondered for a while and decided to be a good person to the end. He poured out 3 drops of the spring of life and fed them to Yang Rushan. Once Yang Rushan's lips touched the spring of life, he suddenly sat up. Even with such a serious injury, he was able to sit up like a zombie. Spring of life. It's actually the spring of life. Yang Rushan's eyes were as big as bells. Shut up. Chu Yang scolded without giving him any face. Ah! Yang Rushan fell down with a plop. The shock he felt at this moment was truly unparalleled. There was actually such a brilliant doctor in such a remote place. And this seemingly ordinary young man actually had so many good things in his hands. No wonder he made such a huge bet with that chubby Pongban the other day. So he was actually fearless. In his hands, not only did he have the miraculous medicine that could quickly restore one's elemental energy, but this medicine did not make one's elemental energy recover significantly. However, it did make one's elemental energy recover significantly. It was very impressive. And there was the priceless purple crystal spirit needle, and even the spring of life. That was the most precious treasure of the fairy race. It was something that had been extinct in the Heaven Palace for hundreds of thousands of years. Oh my God, at this moment, the #1 general of the Oath Division was truly shocked by Chu Yang's generosity. Chu Yang didn't care whether he was shocked or not. After packing up, he let him rest in the room while Chu Yang and Catface left. To be honest, Chu Yang really didn't want to reveal too many trump cards. If he did, it would weaken Chu Yang. But this time, he had to do it. Firstly, this guy's injuries were too serious. Only heavy pills could extend his life. Only the heavenly sage needle technique could stimulate his vitality. Only the spring of life could save his life. Of course, these were the most important reasons. Secondly, it was because this guy was terrifyingly powerful. The most conservative estimate was that he was at least a saint-tier powerhouse. He might even be stronger than Du and Tsunkong at his peak. Forming a good relationship with him would definitely be beneficial in the future. Thirdly, this guy was righteous and worth saving. Of course, the most important thing was the promise that Yang Rushan had made. His determination to mend the relationship between the two of them. This was a person who valued keeping a promise as much as his life. Chu Yang had always admired such people. Even if he couldn't get anything in return, he would still save him. I say, where did you get this pet? Catface looked at Brother Tiger in Chu Yang's arms and was a little envious. He has a newborn kitten. Chu Yang rolled his eyes and stroked Brother Tiger's back. Don't talk nonsense. This is my contracted spiritual beast. In all honesty, Chu Yang scolded Teacher Cat for his own good. If Brother Tiger bore a grudge against Catface, it wouldn't be good. Oh, shit. You said shit. Catface jumped up. Oh my God, this is just an ordinary cat. You. Are you having a fever? Why did you take in such a trash as your contracted spiritual beast? Brother, whose anger, which had just been appeased, rose again. He immediately stood up. He stared at Catface fiercely. His eyes flashed fiercely and he looked like he was about to hit Catface with his claws. At the same time, Brother Tiger's voice rang in Chu Yang's mind. It sounded like he was gnashing his teeth. I want to turn this human-shaped cat into my feces. Calm down, calm down. With your status as a shit, it's not worth getting angry with a human-shaped cat. Chu Yang hurriedly comforted him. He turned to Cat Face and said, "You don't look too good this morning. Did something happen to you?" Cat Face's attention was immediately diverted. He sighed deeply and said, "I've contacted the clan. That's a good thing. Doesn't that mean you have a way home?" Chu Yang was surprised. "Then why are you frowning? Of course it's a good thing. But the problem now is, the person who received my message is a crazy person." Cat Face was full of bitterness. After she received my message, she said that she wanted to help me. She even told the clan that she wanted to take revenge for me. The first thing she did was to come here alone. What? Chu Yang was shocked. The Wolf clan's defense outside is so tight. She came here alone. Did she come here to shit me? Is she playing with her life? Or is she looking for death? I think he's most likely courting death. Isn't that so? She's a very violent person. Cat Face said with melancholy. She's also very barbaric, very domineering, very unreasonable, very irritable. She's a very unreasonable existence. Who is she? Chu Yang asked carefully. After listening to this long description, Chu Yang immediately knew that a storm was coming. It seems like this person is very scary. Even a certain cat with thick nerves would be afraid of this person. She must be a very powerful person. Could she be the cat clan's #1 god of war, #1 warrior? That person is my fiancé. Her eyes were filled with tears as she said those sorrowful words. She said weakly, "I can clearly feel that I won't have any freedom in the future. But I don't have the strength to resist. Life is like being. Since I can't resist, I can only accept it. I tilde meow." Chu Yang and Brother Tiger straightened their necks at the same time. One man and one beast stared at each other like cute lion-headed goldfish. Shifty covered his face with his hands. "In a few days, that scary woman will come. Sob sob, whenever I think about this, I feel like I have nothing left to live for. There will be no more light in the future. That will be a time darker than darkness, and it will fill the rest of my life. I can't even beat her." Her father is the #1 expert of the cat clan. Cat Face became more and more sad as she spoke. Her tail drooped. Her voice was also a little choked. How can a small arm win against a big leg? Woo woo, Chu Yang and Brother Tiger were speechless. They looked at each other and were completely stunned by the situation in front of them. Cat Face pleaded sorrowfully. "Chu Yang, you will save me? You will save me, right?" Chu Yang stood up decisively and ran out of the room at the speed of 100 meters sprint. His speed was the fastest in his life. Meow. The fur on Brother Tiger's body stood up, and he instantly turned into a shooting star, disappearing from the room in an instant. Brother Tiger's furry head was dripping with cold sweat. Too close, too close. What if this guy packed up a female cat and gave it to me? What should I do? I. Can I still live? One had to admit that Brother Tiger was still very worried. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.